What's up, y'all? Welcome to Chip and Zay here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. I am Zay Collier. Appreciate y'all joining us on this Wild Out Wednesday, or excuse me, Thursday. Got my days mixed up. Y'all know how life gets. It's been a crazy sports morning, which y'all know me. My petty radar has been flashing like a mug because, damn, free Chauncey. Free Chauncey. That's all I can say. Allegedly innocent until proven guilty, you know what I mean? But yeah, again, appreciate y'all for rocking with us on this Thursday. Like, subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, X, Twitter, we're everywhere. Get the app if you haven't already. You know, Chip Brown, he be on that CP time. So hey, when Chip gets here, he gets here. I'm sure he's a little taken back from all these gambling, just situations going on, because Chip Brown is a Pistons fan, being from the state of Michigan and the outskirts of Detroit. So Chauncey Billups means something to Chip too, because man, Chauncey is one of my favorite players back in the day. I don't know how he is being a coach. It hasn't been good since he's gotten to Portland, but for him to possibly go down, FBI coming to the crib, the feds, federales, alphabet boys, hitting up the crib, waking up wifey and them. They got Damon Jones. They got my man Terry Rozier, which, Terry Rozier, that situation, that was boiling for a while. So, yeah, CB time. I mean, I don't know where Chip is. He'll be here any moment now. But yeah, got Mississippi State to keep on talking about. Y'all got after me yesterday, said I was a Debbie Downer, this, that, and the third, which is fine. I appreciate you saying that. I'm sorry I have to be the guy that has to be the Debbie Downer. I don't want to be. I wish everything was cherries and roses and sunshine, but it ain't that right now for Texas football. So, keep on trying to put some positivity in my life. I appreciate it. Also, hit us up on the Coda text line 512-222-9328. NBA last night, which obviously the NBA is taking up all the headlines in the worst way right now, but there were actually games last night. Opening week has been solid so far. Spurs fans, relax. If you're a Spurs fan, I understand getting excited from what you saw last night, especially from the alien. Holy smokes, boy. 40 points, 15 rebounds. He looked angry. He looked pissed off. Remember, the dude was training with KG, Monks, Shanghai Monks, Hakeem. So he's been locked in all summer, training with the right people. Kevin Garnett, crazy in the best way. I'm sure KG let him know, hey, you can elevate your game just by being nastier, being meaner, being that guy. You're already skinny. You're already from France. So people are going to look at you and be like, oh, this dude, he's soft. Shit. There's nothing about 40 and 15 that was soft last night. I see my guy in the green room. Let's bring him on. Chip Brown in the building.
What's happening?
What's up, man?
How we doing? In the immortal words of Judy Brown, happiness is a choice. Who's happy out here today? Huh?
Your boy Chauncey Billups happy?
What the hell happened to my man, Mr. Big Shot?
What happened?
What the hell?
What happened? Hanging with the mob?
Hanging with the mob? That's like a bad Nick Cage movie. I mean, what are we doing? The guy beat Shaq and Kobe. Now he's got to beat the feds? I mean, for God's sake.
As tough as beating Shaq and Kobe is, beating the feds, a little more difficult, if you ask me. But yeah, like, you go from coaching to getting locked up. They raided the crib, Chip. Like when crib knocking on the door, have you in cuffs outside your house, got the whole neighborhood outside in robes and stuff.
Hey, remember when we talked to our man Michael Center? The Texas tennis coach who had the feds at his door. He's in his boxers and they're like cuffing him at the wrists and the ankles. And man, when the feds come, they don't play. But Zay, you got to help me out, man. Did Chauncey do something wrong?
Innocent till proven guilty. Like, we don't.
It was gambling?
Okay. So let me try to dumb this down because I've been looking at it all morning. It's a lot. Like, it's a ton. There's 2 separate investigations which are kind of tied together. But basically, the main names that you hear are Mr. Big Shot. He's the biggest. Terry Rozier, Scary Terry, who the NBA, they did their own investigation and they kind of let him slide. But the FBI was like, nah, we can't do that. And Terry, he's really done. Like, it's not looking good for him at all. Again, allegedly, we'll see when this thing goes to court. And then Damon Jones. I don't know if you remember Damon Jones.
Yeah, I remember Damon Jones.
Yeah, he wasn't a household name or anything, but
he played for the Blazers for a minute.
Yeah.
And the Heat.
Yeah, played for the Heat, played for Cleveland. He could shoot it. He could shoot it. That's all he could do. But he's kind of in both investigations. So the one that had to do with Scary Terry, Terry Rozier, this fool said and told his boys, hey, I'm going to be out tonight for a certain amount of minutes. I'm going to play, but I'm going to check myself out and have an injury.
Oh, no.
So he went that route.
So he's like tanking games?
Yeah, and it was only like $200K, which is a lot for us small folks out here. But for NBA money, like the money Terry Rozier's already made, for him to be playing with $200K just for his homies, like it's wild. Yeah, Harold the dog. The one about Terry Rozier is Operation Nothing But Net. The one about the poker games is Operation Royal Flush. So it's bad petty. But yeah, Terry Rozier. Apparently, this fool, after he won the money, told the homies, take the under on me. I'm going to substitute myself out the game and not come back. So he pretended to be hurt. I don't know. So afterwards, Chip, him and the homies went back to his house and counted up the Skrilla. They all sat around the table. I don't know how many guys were involved, but they were all counting the 200,000 together. That's what people are saying. So there's that. Terry's in some stuff. Damon Jones is kind of similar, but now we're talking about he doesn't play anymore. So how does Damon Jones connect to all this? This fool was working with the Lakers at the time, was telling his homies, hey, Bron ain't playing tonight. So now he's got King James involved. Apparently, LeBron had no idea Damon Jones was using his,
playing status.
Yeah, playing status for his homies to make a little Skrilla. And Damon Jones was going back to the homies being like, yo, Bron ain't playing tonight. Hit it now before it gets out and Vegas changes the spread. So that's how Damon's involved. And I also think Damon with Chauncey, they were bringing in heavy hitting, just very wealthy people into illegal gambling poker games. So this is what the catch was. Damon Jones and Chauncey, again, allegedly, I'm going to keep saying this, innocent until proven guilty. Damon Jones and Chauncey were getting out these big time, just wealthy people and having them come in and say, hey, you want to play poker games with former athletes, former celebrities. Of course, these wealthy, rich folks are going to say, hell yeah. The games
I want to play poker with Mr. Big Shot.
Yeah, the games were fixed. They had some type of contacts where you could read cards, x-ray vision, Ocean's 11 type stuff. Like we're talking about De Niro casino type stuff.
So they're bringing in these whales and then they're ripping them off?
Yeah. Wiretap. Like they the whole nine. So, yep, Chauncey was involved. And hey, yo, by the way, Chauncey coached last night and the Blazers lost. Look what Chauncey had to say. This is only a 10-second quote, but they asked Chauncey about the game, and Chauncey probably should have used his words a little wiser with what he said in connection to him getting booked by the Federales today.
No, I don't. That pressure thing is nothing to me, man. I do the best I can and let the chips fall where they may. You know that about me by now, quick.
Let the chips fall, Chauncey. That pressure ain't nothing, yo. This is a different type of pressure, Big Shot. And
was
this
he
hurts, man.
What was that question or answer in reference to?
I don't know.
But it wasn't about the investigation.
No, because it was last night and all this stuff came out today. It was about the game somehow. But yeah, Chip, it's crazy out here.
Hold on a second. I think I have something to show you.
All right. Yeah, my man. I love Chauncey. Like that's why this one hurts. Chauncey, he was a different type of point, man. Oh man. Not the photo with the trophy.
I mean, these are my guys.
Yeah. That's
These are my guys.
I got to snitch on everyone. Screw the street code. Screw all that. Like, it's time to snitch. It's time. You know?
Don't tell me Ben Wallace was involved in this stuff.
I hope not. Now, if Rashid was involved, we probably wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Sheed and Damon Stoudemire, that makes a lot of sense. But
that makes a lot of sense.
So far, they're not involved.
No. But yeah, the mob guys, man, like,
CB, the world's greatest volunteer producer in the history of radio, is asking if Chauncey's been fired yet.
Can't fire him yet.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly, yeah. You can't fire him. Chauncey it's time to start snitching. It's time to start, which is okay. You know, your life's on the line. Like, you got to start telling on everybody, whoever is involved, to get you in the clear.
You got to have a fall guy.
Yeah. You know, get in that investigation room, ask for your favorite meal, you know, get that meal in there.
Just blame Shohei Ohtani's interpreter.
Yeah, see, he took the bullet. Now Shohei's in the World Series.
Oh, yeah. Hitting home runs, pitching, doing it all.
Yeah. Like, it was a language barrier. Chauncey, he can't say that it was a language barrier. That ain't going to work this time.
No speak Anglais. Sammy Sosa, Shohei Ohtani defense.
La Cosa Nostra, the Italian mafia. Oh, man, the biopic's going to be crazy. The biopic, you know.
Wow.
I'll act in it. I'll act as one of Terry Rozier's homies.
Wow.
I'll do that. That could be my acting debut.
Wow.
Yeah, La Cosa Nostra. La Cosa Nostra, whatever. They ain't playing around. And this gambling, sports rigging operation, it's been going on for like 4 years. The FBI has been investigating all this stuff. 11 states, 30 folks have been arrested. Extortion, wire fraud. It's bad. Like, this is a bad day for the NBA, man.
Good Lord.
And you remember Jonte Porter, Michael Porter Jr.'s brother that got in trouble with Toronto? Because there's 4 teams that's being investigated in the NBA: the Blazers, the Lakers, the Raptors, and the Hornets. So the Lakers, that was the LeBron situation where Damon Jones was one of the coaches, analysts. Either way, he was getting paid by the Lakers. And he's the one that gave the inside tip to the homies to make the bets. The Raptors, that's the Jonte Porter situation. And the mob threatened his ass because this fool was in the hole. So Jonte Porter Jr., even though he was freaking in the league, owed so much money and was in debt that much that the fool was threatened by the mob to go fix games. That's how dark it was for him.
Wow.
It's crazy. Like
that was his only way out.
Yeah. Like this is some Ocean's 11.
Like otherwise stuff was getting chopped off.
Yeah. Sam Rothstein, Casino. Like this is crazy. The fact that this is happening in 2025, which again, gambling's crazy right now, but still, like I'm shocked that all this stuff is coming out.
The biopic. The biopic is going to be amazing, Zay says.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
They're already writing the script.
Yeah. Yeah. How can you not?
X-ray poker games.
Yeah.
Wow. I couldn't believe that. I've been running around today and I'm hearing little bits and pieces and I'm like, Chauncey? What you mean? Mr. Big Shot?
They doing Chauncey wrong too. Look at this. Look how they doing Chauncey. They got Chauncey and memes with Tony Soprano at the poker.
No time. Oh, they're all over my man, Chauncey. Dang.
Yo, did somebody ask Steve Sarkisian today?
Mr. Big Shot.
Yeah. Somebody asked Sark something about gambling today, didn't they?
Yeah, I guess. Our man Hank South was on the Sarkisian call today. But he sent me the audio. Let me see what I can find here.
Okay.
What'd they say?
Someone asked him about college kids betting on pro games, and Sark's against that.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yo, the X-ray poker table is nuts. Apparently, that X-ray poker table can read cards facing down. What? A dude lost $1.8 million messing around with Damon Jones and Chauncey.
Dude, people are going to show up in the river.
Yeah, somebody gonna be swimming with the fishes, which is sad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of the rigged card counting machines, somebody got held gunpoint for it. Somebody was like, I got a rigged card counting machine. I'm not giving it over. The mob came in and said, no, you're gonna give it over. And put the Smith & Wesson to the head. You got to give it up. You got to give it up. You giving up the machine right there. What can you do? You dying over a machine? No. Mob, it's yours. Here you go. Like, that's tough. That's tough. Wow. I love mobster stuff. Like, I like it being real, but you ask me my favorite movies. Godfather. Casino, Goodfellas. What's my favorite shows? Sopranos. Like Boardwalk Empire. Things like that. Just classics. And they out here really doing that stuff. Oh, Tim Donaghy's over here like, see? Y'all see? Like, it's real out here. Say Collier. Yo, man. Hey, I'll eat some.
That's your guy, your Cincinnati nose tackle, Dante Corleone.
Yo, I eat some gabagoo, CB. You know what I'm saying?
Gabagoo.
Give me some chicken parm. Oh, yeah. Some 3-meat lasagna, little chicken cutlets. Yeah. Italian people, they love me. You know?
Okay. So Sark was asked, hey, coach, the NCAA changed the rules this week. Well, I'll just play it bootleg, okay?
Yeah, play a bootleg.
So Steve Sarkisian today was asked this.
The NCAA changed the rules this week to allow student athletes to gamble on professional sports. I'd like to get your comment on that, but also in light of the news of the NBA indictments this week that came out today, what do you tell the players to protect them? Do you have any guardrails in place to train them about sports gambling?
I didn't see all from the NBA perspective, so that's a little bit difficult for me to answer. I can touch on our stuff. I totally disagree with the NCAA on this, and I was very vocal about it. You know, here we are in an era where we have revenue sharing, NIL, publicity rights, and so the players now have money. So now let's give them the freedom to take that money and gamble it away. That makes no sense to me. When we're in a space of educating young people, and part of educating young people is what to do with their money. And to say, okay, now you can gamble on pro sports, like, to me, that does not make any sense. Like, from a logical standpoint, this isn't something that I've been shy about. I've been very supportive of the other side of it. It was a lot easier before for us when they couldn't gamble at all, because that was an easy way for us to educate them, and that was an easy way for us to penalize them and do the things that we need to do. Now we do have to put guardrails up. Now we do have to manage this from a simple standpoint of, well, I'm allowed to, so how can you tell me I can't? And so now it's more about education, even more education than we were doing before. But I'm disappointed in this ruling that this is what we decided to do with our young people when they could be doing something really substantial in their life, for their own life and for their families' lives. And we're giving some, not all of them are going to gamble. Okay, so let's be clear about that. They're not all going to gamble, but some are. And it's not what we were trying to accomplish with this. And I get it. It's probably hard to police before. I think it just made it even harder for all of us to police now. That, well, he's on DraftKings. Well, what was he gambling on? Well, if they just can't be on DraftKings at all, then we don't have to worry about it. But now we have to dig deeper to figure out what is somebody gambling on. Kirk, go ahead.
I agree with Sarkisian on that. Like, I told you, my college roommate was, got into gambling and got into trouble. Like, his dad had to bail him out. He was hosting blackjack games at our house. Like, I was working for the Associated Press. I'm like 21 years old, and I'm so excited I got this job with the Associated Press. And I had to work the overnight, like, as the young guy. So I'd have to go into work at midnight and get off at 8 a.m. I'm manning the Dallas bureau. So if a plane crashes in West Texas, I'm like calling the cops out in West Texas to get information on this. And so I would wake up at midnight to go into work, and my man was hosting blackjack games in our living room. And I'm like, dude, what are we doing? He's like, well, it's better than betting on games. Like, I'm the house. And I'm like, this is such a bad, this is just such a bad spiral.
He was probably tweaking and itching and scratching.
Oh my God. And he got out of it. He went to Gamblers Anonymous. He got out of it. And they tell you, instead of betting the money on the games, write down your bets and what, write down the games and what you would have bet on it, and just write it down. Don't make the bet, and you'll see how much money you would have lost. Like, I mean, some people just bet $20 a game. For them, it's entertainment. It's like go to the movies. Great. My roommate was not betting $20 a game. He was betting way bigger than that. He was trying to make money. And that's
You weren't no inside scoop? What kind of friend are
like
you?
1989, 1990. There was no inside scoop. He thought he was smart. And I had a guy who was like, Chip, you and your friends are like the perfect casualty in gambling, because you got some discretionary income and you think you should know how the game's going to go. And you see our picks, you see me and Zay's picks, our picks are terrible. We're like, we go 3-3 every week.
Yo, I'm feeling the heater this week.
Zay's feeling it? You feeling it?
The heater this week.
Well, we're going to have Lance Taylor on here in a minute. We'll get his picks.
Yo, that's hilarious.
Lance,
you ain't lying there.
Lance is way better at picking games than Zay and I are. But yeah, man. I mean, gambling for fun, $20, great. But if you think you think you can make money, man, you better know what you're doing, because Vegas sure as hell knows what they're doing. I mean, they keep building the casinos out there. Like, they're not tearing any down. The only ones they're tearing down is to make room for new ones.
Yep.
So, yeah, man. And my roommate now, so this is a unbelievable story. So he got into trouble. His dad bailed him out. And then he stopped gambling. He gets a job with a company called AudioNet, run by Mark Cuban, and was one of the first employees at AudioNet, which became broadcast.com, which had the largest public offering in the history of the NASDAQ in like 2000. Now that roommate is a millionaire, has Yahoo stock or whatever it was. I mean, he was in with the Cuban, ground floor broadcast.com. So that was a very happy ending for my college roommate. But
that's a good story. That's a beautiful story.
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
So I won't say his name because I shouldn't be putting his business out there, but there was a happy ending.
There's a happy ending. Yeah. It wasn't like he's swimming with the fishes.
Right. He's not hanging with Chauncey at the X-ray poker games. Oh my gosh.
Yo, the contact lenses, that's what I'm trying to see. How much do those run for?
The what?
There's some type of contact lens that they had that helped you out, that helped fix the games.
Like Google glasses?
I had something like that. Like when I was reading, I was like, yo, this is some Ocean's 11 shit. Like, how is this even real? But
okay, so CB says, my uncle goes to Vegas. He gets a high roller suite at the hotel. He gets a limo from the hotel to pick him up. So either your uncle does really well or he blows a lot of money.
Oh, gee.
Because the one run I got on at MGM where I won like, $6,000 in 40 minutes because this table was so hot, it was on fire. And it was in the morning. And the only reason I had to stop, like these two guys were killing it. I go, do y'all mind if I sit down? And they're like, no. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I won like 14 hands in a row and I was increasing my bet. And I was like, I got to go to the airport. Like I got up and left. And those guys were like, "Why are you leaving? We're killing this thing." And I'm like, "I know, I gotta go." And MGM was like, we'll get you a card. And so they sent me, hey, come on out, all this stuff. But the guys who like get the high roller treatment every time they go to Vegas, they're betting big hands.
Yeah.
Big hands. They're like, Barkley. I'll never forget that. Barkley's on Regis and Kelly. And he's talking about, gambling, and Kelly goes, "What's the most you've lost in one sitting?" And he's like, 1.2 million. And Kelly's like, "What?"
Chuck.
And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, dang.
Yeah.
1.2 million.
Buy you a lot of churros. That's for sure.
God zoinks.
Yeah. Speaking of Barkley, those guys, they were good yesterday. ESPN did a good job.
Okay. Yeah, give us your critique.
I mean, it was still funny.
It's good. It felt like the same old.
Yeah, they're still in that same studio, which I don't know how that works. Like,
that's great.
Yeah, they're the same studio. I feel like they didn't have to fire too many people or hire too many people that already had the gig in general. So, yeah, good for them. It looked, besides seeing NBA or ESPN instead of TNT, it was good. They made me laugh. They were cracking jokes, still acting ignorant. That's how it's supposed to be. So I appreciated it. Yeah.
Chuck broke his glasses.
I didn't see that.
Okay. Well, and then we've got betting advice. And again, we'll have Lance Taylor on here in a minute.
Yeah, this is a great day to have Lance on.
Oh, my God. Terry Freeman says taking the under at 46.5.
Texas game?
I would assume. Is that what we're talking about here, Terry? Texas game?
I think that's what it was last time I saw it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
46.5.
Yeah, I see 44.5.
Oh, it's all the way down to 44.
I mean,
all
that's
right,
all.
Here's our man. What a day to have Lance Taylor of lanceslock.com on the show with Mr. Big Shot Chauncey Billups running all kinds of stuff going on with the gambling world with an Italian mob boss?
Yeah, I haven't got the latest of the details, so you guys are gonna have to fill me in. So
no,
okay.
We're good. LT, how you doing, my man?
I am good. When I saw the breaking news early this morning, it was like in the 7 o'clock hour. None of it made any sense. I mean, you're talking about, a player that just signed a $96 million contract guaranteed in 2021 and a sitting head coach that's made millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. So I don't know. I've always said, I understood the Boston College point shaving scandal back in the 70s. I understood what was going on with Headache Smith and Arizona State in the 90s and, even Toledo football into the 90s. But, now with what these guys are making, risk versus reward, a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. So I don't know what's what and who's what, and none of it. I mean, it doesn't add up. I mean, that's why, the integrity of the game, there was always it was taboo. Leagues didn't want to endorse gambling. They didn't want to get in bed with these gambling partners. But I think you can realistically now because there's too much money at stake for you to fix a game. Officiating, different story. But players make too much money. So I don't know what's going on, but I haven't heard the latest. What is the latest? Can you give me?
No, we're good.
Well, I gotta tell Lance this. They said allegedly, Lance, Terry Rozier with his homies when he told his homies, hey, take the under on me.
Yeah.
I'm going to substitute myself out the game. And he never came back. That him and his homies took the earnings, which was like up to $200K, and counted it up at the house later that night.
That stuff's stupid. I mean, that's stupid, right?
Stupid.
He's making 200,000 plus a game. I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
LT, Texas fans are apoplectic after the Kentucky no offense game.
Big ass word, Chip.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, look, that was embarrassing. I don't know how you guys watched this offense. I mean, an offense that is
179 yards and 8 first downs.
Yeah, less than 15 points a game on the road. And obviously that's where they're heading this week when they're taking on. Are you going to Starkville?
I'm not.
Okay.
Our man Eric Henry is going.
Okay. I think we have seen enough at this point through 7 games that I think it is safe to say, and not to pour salt on a wound, but this is the most overhyped player in college football history. Now, maybe this thing turns next year. You guys know where I was on Sarkisian, for years. I did give him credit because, final year, wins the Big 12 in that conference, plays for an SEC championship game, wins a couple of games in the college football playoff. But where this offense is right now, it's criminal with how well this defense is playing. And not only you aren't winning, you're 2-7 against the number, your last 9 outs. I just don't think this offense is going to get better. And I know there's a lot of different directions you can go with. Running backs have been banged up. The offensive line hasn't been good. But, 12 of 27 against this Kentucky defense is awful. I think Texas will win this week against Mississippi State, but I don't know what that means. I just, even if Texas was to sneak in this college football playoff at 9-3, they can't do anything with it. They just don't have the offense.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to get run by Georgia.
Should.
Yeah.
Should.
Yeah. And the fact that Sarkisian went away from the quick passing game that worked against OU, thinking, oh, we're good. Now we can go back to 5 and 7 step drops. And Kentucky just kept blitzing and bringing zone pressure and attacking the left guard.
That's what's so fascinating. I know it wasn't one of you guys that asked the question, but we played the clip from Sark. And I don't know if the question was asked yesterday. I think we played the clip yesterday about somebody in the press conference asking, are you going to give up play calling duties? And look, and he cut his teeth on that. And I still think he is one of the best play calling, if not the best play calling head coach right now in college football. I think if you get to this point next October, and if the offense for whatever reason was struggling like this, then maybe it's something you reevaluate. I think that is way too premature, but it just doesn't make sense with the roster they've got, with his play calling ability, because it did seem against that really good OU defense, they found something that at least had a semblance of working. And you get away from that against a terrible Kentucky team. And can you go back to what you were doing? I guess you can, but I don't know. It's a weird situation. And, as much as I look around the SEC and as bad as Kentucky is, and, you can make an argument that South Carolina or Auburn, how disappointing they are. Texas, even at 5-2, has got to be the most disappointing team through 7 games, I think.
Yeah, it's not good, for sure. And the genesis of all this, malaise on offense is they totally misevaluated the offensive line and didn't go into the portal to get help. And now it's a turnstile up front. Arch is getting hit from all angles. He's back to being in his head, overstriding from the pocket and missing layups, as Steve Sarkisian calls it. So, yeah, this is like, wow. They're not getting better. They're getting worse. That was a full-blown regression back to as bad as we've seen. He was 0 of 10 at one stretch against UTEP. He was 1 of 9 from midway through the second quarter to midway through the fourth quarter against Kentucky.
Yeah. And when you start to look at the schedule, like if you don't meet Mississippi State, then, I mean,
it's an avalanche.
It is, yeah. But then outside of that, I mean, you're playing a Vanderbilt offense that is legitimate, like really, really good, 40-plus points per game. Can Texas score with them? I don't know. Fortunately, that game is in Austin. But then, as you said, you go to Athens to play a Georgia team that can, I mean, they're good on both sides of the ball. Then you play an Arkansas team. What's that?
Georgia's hard to kill.
Yeah, that's what we hear. It is kind of true. Then you play an Arkansas team. Taylor Green leads the nation in total offense. Look, they can't win games, but they're just scary enough where they're going to beat somebody. I don't know who it's going to be. Could be Texas. We've seen Texas struggle against Arkansas the last few years. And then A&M. I can find a path outside of maybe Mississippi State for Texas to lose all these games. So, I don't know at the end of the year what this thing's going to look like. And maybe they navigate it and they end up being 10-2 or 9-3 and they get to a college football playoff. And miraculously, they've got some kind of turnaround, but I'm not seeing it right now.
Lance, your thoughts on Alabama? Obviously, they took care of Tennessee easily. They go to Columbia this weekend. But your thoughts on the Crimson Tide and how they're playing?
Yeah, it's weird, Zay, because I started to look at this. They're not even going to have close to a 1,000-yard rusher. They're probably not going to, as good as Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams has the potential, they're not going to have a 1,000-yard receiver. There's a good chance they're not going to have a 10-touchdown player on this offense, but Ty Simpson still might win the Heisman, and they might win the national championship. And it's like they distribute well. I think Ryan Grubb's doing a good job of keeping a lot of balance with the offense. Ty Simpson's not turning the football over. When you look at this Alabama team, +9 in turnovers, third best right now in the FBS. They held, and I look at Kane Womack's defense. A lot of people absolutely can't explain it. They hate this defense, but it got so good down the stretch, even in some of the losses last year. But they've already held Vanderbilt and Tennessee to season lows. They have held both Georgia and Missouri to their second lowest season total of the year. So, against Missouri, I gave that defense an A. Against Tennessee, holding them to 20 points and 410 total yards, which is way below their season average, I gave them an A. I think the defense is playing at a high level, and you've got elite quarterback play with elite coaching. So this Alabama team is really, really scary. And this is one of those games. It's so funny because I have been riding Alabama the last few games out, and this is the game that Alabama fans are scared of. And I'm like, South Carolina is awful, like absolutely awful. And I think it's kind of comical that there's a lot of people like, hey, are you going to take this Virginia Tech job, Shane Beamer? He ought to take it to get out in front of the posse. But, I wouldn't be necessarily excited if I was a Virginia Tech fan. With all that said, South Carolina, you're talking about an offense that is absolutely garbage, an offensive line that is garbage, and a play calling offensive coordinator who's been in football forever, a former Alabama head coach in Mike Shula. It has been a disaster. But Alabama they're hitting at the right time.
All right, Lance. The number for Texas and Mississippi State, by the way, keeps going up. Texas was -6.5. Now they're -7.5. I guess what? Because CJ Baxter, the running back, might be back for this game. I guess Vegas hasn't looked at Texas's offensive line. But how do you think this one plays out?
Yeah, I think it's more brand, Chip. I think a lot of people look at this, and Mississippi State is a team that, although they're improved, they can't win in the SEC, or at least they've been unable to do that. They have been covering, though. A lot of these numbers are inflated. When you look at Mississippi State, their last 8 out, they're 7-1 against the number. On the other side, Texas not only playing really bad offensive football with the 81st scoring offense right now in college football, but they're not covering. I mean, they're 2-7 their last 9 out against the number. The scoring defense, third nationally, is really, really good. This is one of those games I completely stay away. And personally, for me, because I don't want to watch it. It was much like I got caught watching Texas in Kentucky. My God, normally when you have an SEC game that goes to overtime, you're like, man, that was awesome. That was awful. And it really was. It was.
I was there.
Yeah, and I thought Stoops should have gone for it on that 4th down, but it wasn't even close. It was like one of the worst goal line 4th down
attempt.
Yeah, it was awful, absolutely awful. So I really don't want to get involved with that game because I don't want to watch it. I do see one of your guys says, looking at the $100 play with Mississippi State plus 7.5, under 45.5. I mean, the under 45.5 seems too easy just based on how much Texas is struggling offensively and how well this defense is playing. I'm semi-retired on Social Security, but man, that looks tempting.
I love
Joe
it.
K at ATX, just keep your money. Enjoy the game.
Just keep your money.
Yeah, try to grind it out and just enjoy a Texas win. That's all I would say. By the way, yeah, if you don't have money, I remember being back in school and we refused to play unders. We refused it because it's so painful to sit on the couch and pull for 3 and outs, and pull for punts. And when finally somebody gets in the red zone, you're pulling for a turnover. It is miserable. Like if you get dialed in and it's something you do for a living, like I've got 2 plays up tonight, and one of them is an under. And, I got no problem watching that stuff, but, I've got action every which way, always, all the time. But if you're doing it for entertainment, which you should be if you're wagering, you don't want to play unders, especially in a freaking Texas-Mississippi State game.
Yeah. Lance, as of right now, who you got playing for the SEC championship?
This is crazy. I'm glad you asked this, because after all this dust settles and A&M undefeated right now, and Ole Miss very much in the mix. If Ole Miss wins this game this weekend, I mean, it's going to be really difficult. The last ranked team on paper they play, it's going to be tough to keep them out of the playoffs. But I think when this thing all shakes out, I think it's going to be Alabama and Georgia again. I really do. I know, and that is so freaking boring when you think about, a team like Texas A&M that's never been there before. When you think about a team like Ole Miss that's never been there before. When you think about the seasons Missouri and Vanderbilt are having. But I think when it really shakes out with Georgia, the way they played in the fourth quarter this past week against Ole Miss, and the way Alabama's playing right now, I think it's a collision course with those 2 teams. Now, I do think this weekend is fascinating in the SEC for a couple of reasons. I think you have a play-in game with Missouri and Vanderbilt. Now, I know that sounds nuts, but I think both of those teams at 6-1. Now, Missouri's got a more difficult schedule than Vanderbilt moving forward, or the other way around. I'm trying to remember that. But I do think the winner of that game is going to ultimately go 10-2, and I think they're going to get in, and more than likely the loser is going to be out. And I think when you start to look at Ole Miss, Oklahoma's still got a lot of work to do. But if Ole Miss wins that game at 11 o'clock on ABC in Norman, I think Ole Miss, you can almost book them. So I think there's some fascinating games this weekend. But I think ultimately what we see in Atlanta, and now that we've seen these mock, renderings of what a 2014 playoff now would look like. Is that what we saw recently? I know it sounds crazy, but if you got away with these conference championship games that used to mean so much, you guys were there last year. The SEC championship game didn't have the buzz it's had in the past, and I think they're slowly dying off. But, I mean, the layout I saw was pretty exciting. So I think eventually we're going to get to a point where conference championships games don't matter, but I think this year we're going to see a very, very predictable Alabama-Georgia, which is crazy.
How about that? So who do you have in Vandy, Mizzou?
I'm leaning Mizzou. Prabula is not playing where I want him to play right now. Pavia is obviously next level. Prabula is thrown, 4 picks over the last couple of games. He's got to do better protecting the football. But, we're talking about a team under Drink, 9-2-1, their last 12 against the number. They've been really good covering. Vanderbilt, what Pavia is doing, one of 5 FBS quarterbacks right now to throw for over 1,500, rush for over 400. This is just going to be such a fun game to watch. But I've got a feeling that Missouri is going to win this thing on the road. They haven't been great against top 25s on the road. But, strength on strength, Vanderbilt, their ability to run the football, over 6 yards a carry against this Missouri defense that only allows less than 3 yards a carry, which is 12th best in the FBS. I think Missouri is going to win this on defense, and I think Ahmad Hardy will have a big day running the football against Vanderbilt. So right now I like the Tigers.
All right.
And I think it's one of those games, guys, that everybody's on the floor to watch. And I think Lane Kiffin ultimately takes his job. And I've heard a lot of different opinions. If Ole Miss does get to the college football playoff, it gets much more difficult because you don't know how long you're going to be committed to a guy that can't get out and recruit and, do certain things for for your program if you're making that transition. And I've talked to Florida fans that are like, oh, I do not want Drinkwitz. Because, I started talking about his name to Florida 3-4 weeks ago. And some people were like, don't speak it into existence. But I think Drink, if he's your guy, you can stomach him. This guy can coach, though. It's so strange. I never thought he would have success. But this is one of those games, I think if you win it on the road, and it sounds weird saying if you win at Vanderbilt, but this is the Vanderbilt's first top 15 matchup since 1956. Game day will be there, but I think this is one of those that Florida fans all of a sudden would be like, hey, this Drink guy's pretty good if they were to win this game. So, and especially if they were to get to a college football playoff.
Yeah. Ole Miss going to Norman to play the Sooners. OU -5.5. How you see this game playing out, Lance?
So I think Ole Miss is the better team, especially when you're talking about the complete team. And I thought Trinidad Chambliss played extremely well in the first 3 quarters in Athens. The first 5 drives, they go down, they get touchdowns. But then he was 1 of 10 in the fourth quarter, and it was a complete meltdown. And Georgia, as you said, Chip, all they do is survive. They're like that cockroach coming out of a nuclear holocaust that you just can't kill them off. But now you start to look at, what Ole Miss has been unable to do in twofold. Lane Kiffin against ranked opponents is 3-15 in his coaching career. He's only 1-6 in Oxford. And when you look at Ole Miss overall, they have only beaten 2 top 25 teams on the road in the same season, one time since 2014. They just don't win a lot of these games. Oklahoma's offense scares me. You look early on, Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer, and we talked about, what this was going to look like in the SEC. First 3 games of the season, they averaged almost 475 yards a game, but their last 4 out, they're averaging just over 300 yards a game. And I think a lot of this does have to do with the injury, but they're just not playing at the level they were playing. So their offense scares me right now. I think it's a good spot for Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is the better team. And the thing that scares me, though, is the history. Lane doesn't beat these ranked teams. He doesn't win on the road, and they find ways to lose to lesser teams. I'm not saying Oklahoma's lesser, but when it seems like everything's in front of them to get to the postseason, they find a way to lose a game they should.
So Ole Miss +4.5.
I would play that probably right now. Yeah.
All right. How about A&M and LSU? A&M at LSU.
I can't give up on Brian Kelly. I don't know why, because it just hasn't worked out. Nussmeier has thrown a touchdown in 13 straight games, but if you take away the Southeast Louisiana game, they haven't scored more than 24 points in any game this season. I still think Texas A&M, and let me take this back. Texas A&M is the team that hasn't had multiple road wins against ranked teams since 2014, and their stuff is about to get real on the road, and I think it kind of starts here with LSU. I wasn't going to be surprised at all if A&M would have lost last week to Petrino in Arkansas, and they win the game in a shootout. I do think this is the LSU moment where he has absolutely got to win this game. I don't think that he would be fired if he didn't, but they're losing. They're not covering 2-4 their last 6 out against the number, but they have kind of owned this series. LSU's won 9 of the last 13 against A&M. And Brian Kelly at home at night where, it's real deal. I've got a lot of people that kind of shit on, Tiger Stadium at night. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, Brian Kelly, as much as he struggled as far as winning championships, he's 20-1 at home at night at LSU. So I think there's something there. I think LSU will come to play. They're going to have to win it with defense, but I think they can do that. So I do like LSU here.
Chip, you got any more college games?
Yes. I've got Auburn and Arkansas. Is this the I mean, is it already too late for Hugh Freeze?
Yeah, I think it is. And I was one of the biggest endorsers for Hugh Freeze. Look, we get some right, we get some wrong. I thought it was a really good fit just based on what I had seen from Hugh before at Ole Miss. I thought when he took the Auburn job, it was a better program than when he took the Ole Miss job. So I thought that this thing would work out. He was also one of the few coaches that was able to beat Nick Saban, beat him in back-to-back years, and should have beaten Nick Saban in Nick Saban's final season and kept him out of the playoffs. Auburn's defense is still really good. It's almost like the offense has struggled the entire year, and that that play where they ruled it a fumble against Georgia, it's like it broke the spirit of everything involved in that program. And if you're Hugh Freeze, that job's on you. The responsibility's on you to get everybody's head out of their asses and tell them you got to play against adversity sometimes, and we got to be able to overcome this stuff. Not only is Hugh not winning, he's not covering 1-5, their last 6 out against the spread. Now they're taking on an Arkansas defense. If Jackson Arnold can't put numbers up against a defense that's giving up almost 33 points per game, then he's never going to put these numbers up. They've lost 6 consecutive SEC games, but I've said it all year. Arkansas is going to beat somebody they shouldn't. This isn't necessarily somebody they shouldn't beat. This is a really, really difficult game. Just because Jalen Green has played so well at times and they've been unable to get over the hump, I'm going to say Arkansas gets over the hump here. I don't feel good about this game because I think both programs are seriously dysfunctional at this point, but I don't think win or lose, Hugh can save his job. He was asked a question this week on Tuesday, I think it was, would a vote of confidence from John Cohen, your athletic director, go a long way with you? And he's like, oh, yeah. Well, guess what John Cohen hasn't done? He hasn't given him that vote of confidence. And so that tells me that at any point the plug can be pulled. And if they were to go to Fayetteville against an Arkansas team that has yet to win a conference game this season, and they were to lose that game and get embarrassed possibly, I wouldn't be surprised at all on Sunday. And I'll go back this past Sunday. I was in Tuscaloosa Friday night, the majority of the day tailgating Saturday. I came back before the Alabama game, but I made it a point that I wanted to be well rested for the Rams when they played in London at 8:30 against the Jags. Well, I've got friends coming in town, and they don't get to my house till 1:45 a.m. I was trying to be a good host, stay up, so I stay up till 1:45 Sunday morning. Then they want to drink, and they want to take some edibles, so I do that with them. I'm up till 4 in the morning, and then girlfriend is pulling me. She's like, it's 9:15. Rams game been going 45 minutes. I don't miss a minute of a Rams game. So I had to immediately put it on YouTube in bed and hit from the beginning. So I don't see any plays. I don't touch my phone. So I sit in bed, and every commercial I'm catching up, and I don't know any of the score. And so the Rams jump out early, 21-0. But I caught up like 3 minutes before half. So then I'm able to get in the shower and watch the second half, with Rams gear on my couch. But I was absolutely miserable the rest of the day. It was absolutely awful.
Oh. All right, Zay. Go ahead. What are we asking Dodgers?
Yeah. Yeah, are we there?
Your Dodgers going to repeat, LT?
So I did hear a stat today, and I think it's like the last 5 or 6 situations where you had one pennant winner sweep and the other one goes 7, and the team that goes 7 with the less rest wins all of these series. There seems something magical about the moment for the Blue Jays. I would have said the same thing about the Mariners. I think the hottest hitter, look, Ohtani, what he did last Friday was absolutely incredible, arguably one of the greatest individual performances we've seen in the history of Major League Baseball. But Vlad Guerrero is, to me, probably the scariest guy at the plate right now moving forward. I don't know. I think it's going to be a hell of a series. I really do. But, I have – and it's not like I've seen a ton of these championships. 81, I saw it. 88, I saw it. 2020 and last year. But I got to be honest, man, it is so boring being a Dodger fan because you win the division every year. You win 95 to 100 games. I know it sounds stupid, but it's just not that much fun. It's just not. I'm one of those. I like USC at 5-2 right now, and they got to win out to get into a college football playoff. They're going to have to win in Oregon. They're going to have to win in Lincoln to be able to get to a playoff. I like NFC West that has got, Seattle and San Francisco playing at this level, and, Green Bay and Detroit and Tampa Bay and Philadelphia and all these teams that are so good. There's something about that. The Dodgers are just so freaking predictable. With all that said, they're minus 150 favorite tomorrow night in game 1 with Snell on the hill. Yeah, the Dodgers probably win this in 6 or 7.
All right, tell everyone what's going on at lanceslock.com.
We have 2 plays up tonight. This is the impossible. I don't know. Were you guys ever good on the Rubik's Cube?
Hell
yes.
no.
That doesn't surprise me, Chip. Zay, I'm right there with you. I could get one side, but it would take me like 45 minutes to get a side. And then I'm like, okay, I got all orange. How do I figure out the rest of this? And I never could. To me, my Rubik's Cube is the NBA. Like if I go through all my leagues and we've got compiled percentages and wins and units and all that kind of stuff, the only league over the last 18 months I haven't won in at least plus 500 has been the NBA. And I've already started out 0-3 and all tight 3 games. I was 0-1 opening night. I had the Lakers plus the points. And then last night I had both the Pelicans and the T-Wolves, and I lose both of those games by a basket. So with all that said, I do have a play in the NBA up tonight. The NBA has been just an impossible puzzle to solve for me. And it's only been last year and 2 days in. So we'll see what happens on the NBA. Maybe it's because these guys are fixing games. Maybe that's why
what I was about to say. That's ironic. Ironic they're in right now. Yeah.
And maybe that's it. But I do have a play in college football. I've got a play in the NFL, and I've got a play in the NBA. Lance'sLock.com, free play every single day. We are absolutely smoking the NFL. College football, we kept coming off a winning week last week. We are over 500 in college football. But, we're going to win for you. Jump on board, Lance'sLock.com.
LT, appreciate you, man. Let's do it again next week.
Absolutely, guys. Always fun. I see Will Lance touch a Portland game. I did last night, and I lost by a bucket. So
see,
I don't know if Chauncey knew what was going on. It was such a weird game last night. But I'll probably back up from that sales screen. So we'll see what happens. Oh, they want to see the barn door. Yeah, this is I got the barn door for Bullet and Chili. Come here. So I just real quick, and not to keep you guys, but I got these wild ass Vishlas. Come here. Just come here. So this is Bullet. And so like if I don't have this barn door, Bullet here will get in and he will destroy everything in the pantry. So it is a sliding door that actually locks. Yeah. And I'm almost done with my office. So hopefully moving forward, hopefully even next week, I'll have my office done. And you guys will see some cool Rams and Dodgers and Lakers stuff behind me.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, LT. We'll do it again next Thursday.
Okay, boys. Enjoy the games. Enjoy that Texas, Mississippi State with those obnoxious ass cowbells ringing.
Oh, God.
One of the worst traditions in all of sports.
Yeah. Jesus.
And they normally have 11 o'clock meaningless games, and all they can do is get completely effed up. Everybody gets there hungover, and then that shit's just ringing in your ears. It's so stupid.
Well, we will recap it next week.
Okay, boys. Y'all be good. See y'all.
All right. It is Lance Taylor, Lance'sLock.com. Let's speaking of the Mississippi State Cowbells. Our man, Drew Fabianich, the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl, spent some time at Auburn. Drew, did you ever make it to Starkville for the Cowbells at Davis Wade?
Well, you forget that I actually coached at Tennessee too. So,
yeah.
And Louisiana Monroe, we actually beat Mississippi State there when I was at Louisiana Monroe. So
the Warhawks.
The Warhawks, yeah, was the Indians back then. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Your boy Lance, I won't party with him, dude. He runs hard, dude. You can tell.
He runs hard.
That was impressive. I was like, damn, son, go. Waiting up for 145 for somebody? They
never.
Never. You would be knocking at my door for 3 days if you got set up for 145.
You gotta get here sometime between 9 and 9. I'm not waiting up at 145.
No, but I won't party with him.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so I mean, how do they get away with this? Because it's like you're not supposed to bring artificial noisemakers into a stadium, and there's 60,000 with a cowbell.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they've gotten away with it ever since the rule even went in. I mean, it didn't matter. It was like, and it is really loud, and it really is annoying as hell. I mean, it really truly is. It's not crowd noise. I mean, it's like I said, it's wicked bad, and you'll see. I mean, yeah, I've been there plenty of times, and yeah, it's not fun, and it's not enjoyable. It's really not.
Man, well, I don't know how much you watched of Texas versus Kentucky.
Maybe about a quarter and a half. I hadn't put the tape on yet. And I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing it out. I mean, and we'll go back to, because he kind of reminded me when Lance said the Dodgers, you said the Dodgers. I went, Steve Sachs. I was like, Archer's got like the yips. I mean, it's weird. I mean, the feet aren't stable. I mean, they aren't set. I mean, you know, he's throwing too early sometimes, throwing too late. I mean, it's nerves. I mean, like I said, I think he's got the yips, and I don't know how you get through that other than just keep plugging away through it and get the ball out of your hand faster, because there's signs that he's kind of going on an upward trajectory, and then it's kind of like levels off. So, you know, in defense, I thought the defense played pretty well. I did. You know, their secondary is still pretty damn sound. But, you know, they really don't. Kentucky really doesn't have a quarterback. I mean, the young kid's not ready yet. They brought Calzada in, and he lasted a game, you know, for them. I think what is his 8th year or something like that.
Right.
Had him at Auburn too. I mean, you know, they just had they like I said, they're well coached. I only saw about a quarter and a half. You know, again, I was kind of flip flopping around that time. I kind of expected them to beat them by probably 18 to 20, to be honest with you. You know, just because the personnel is so much better. You know, it is.
Yeah, my score prediction was 27-9. How'd that go?
Yeah. Never thought it would go to overtime, ever. Yeah.
179 yards of offense, 8 first downs.
That's why your boy LT makes money off of gamblers, because, you know, guess what? You're going to lose. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Drew, the question that's really been floating around the 40 acres this week, especially after that god-awful performance that the offense put up in Lexington, is does Steve Sarkisian need to give up play-calling duties with him being the head coach? I want to hear your thoughts on that, and just do you feel like head coaches are more successful calling plays or having somebody do that for them so they could be CEO of the program?
He's always been a very good offensive coordinator. It isn't like he got bad overnight. And, you know, again, you put in plays, you structure your scheme on what your players can do. And, you know, and maybe, you know, maybe he can't progress like he wanted to, you know, because some of these guys haven't been in the program as long. You know, some of them are new to it. So, I mean, I don't think that's, like I said, I don't think that's something that you give up, especially when you're really good at it. You know, he spends time, you know, still working with the offense. I mean, their offensive coordinator puts together all the scripts and everything, but that's coming from him. And, you know, again, they're working together, put a game plan together. You can say, yeah, you don't have time to do it, but you do. And you know the terminology like the back of your hand. Once you've done it like 4 or 5 years in a row, I mean, I didn't even need a call sheet most of the time when I was calling defenses. I mean, I could just call it off the sleeve just because I knew exactly what I was looking for, and I knew the verbiage. I knew exactly where it fit. So to turn it over to somebody else, it's hard, especially when you're good at it, and he's good at it. I mean, don't kid yourself. He's always been good at it. So it ain't.
Yeah, just doesn't have an offensive line right now.
No. And the funny thing is, you know, great players make you a great coach. Yeah. They do. And right now they're struggling in certain spots, and, you know, they got to protect better. They've got to, you know, they got to make plays, and, you know, and Archie's got to be more accurate, and they've got to run the ball. I mean, bottom line, play complementary football, because the defense is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting week in college football. I mean, A&M is going back to back on the road. They get out of Fayetteville with an escape. Elko's paying a $25,000 fine for having guys fall down, faking injuries. Now they got to go to LSU, Drew. And A&M's the favorite on the road, and LSU is desperate.
What's the spread?
2.5.
They give the home team how many points?
3.
Okay, so does the bookmakers really like them that much?
No.
That's just what they're sitting at right now. They've got their issues too, and their issues are in their offensive line also. They've got a kid playing left tackle last week that I recruited at Auburn that, you know, DJ Chester, he is not a tackle. He's a guard all day long. And to put a guy out there that has limited length and limited height makes it hard on you. It does. and they haven't protected Garrett very well, and they haven't ran the ball very well. And again, when you're not running the football, it affects the quarterback. It does, because when you can sit back and just tee it up as a defensive line, it makes your job a hell of a lot easier when you don't have to really run it all. And guess what? He's been under siege too. I mean, him, Sellers, Arch, I mean, all of them have been under siege all year. And again, get the ball out of your hand, figure out a way to max protect, figure out a way to slide protection to chip, find a way to get the ball out faster, because you're not capable of, blocking those guys for 4.5 seconds. Not capable. So figure it out,
How good is A&M in your eyes, Drew?
They've got a really good combination of pieces on both sides of the ball that I really like. There are 4 guys in their offensive line that's going to play in the NFL. And they've got a tight end that's really come on lately, the kid from Nebraska. And I wish I could pronounce his name right off the top of my head, but it's like Kiker or something like that.
Yeah, the guy who caught the game winner against Notre Dame.
Well, he's a good receiver, but he's a really good inline blocker, which are few and far between now that guys can do both. I don't know if Le'Veon Moss is going to be ready to go, but he was having a banner year, rolling it up until he got hurt. I don't know if he's going to be back or not. And the 2 receivers they got, I mean, Craver is dynamic and electric with the ball in his hand. And he's got a lot of run after catch, and he's got really, really good balance, and he's fast. And then you go with KC Concepcion, that's kind of the other guy that's the physical type. He's the X receiver. He's going to bang you. He's going to be quarterback friendly. He's strong. I mean, he's good with the ball in his hand, but he's not as dynamic as, Craver is. So, I mean, you got the quarterback making good throws. He's got a really good, completion percentage now. And touchdown to interceptions is really good. He's improved a lot. You got a running game. You got an offensive lineman. You got a tight end. You got 2 receivers. Flip it to defense. You got a rusher that led the nation like at Bowling Green last year, and he hadn't skipped a beat. Cassius Howell has not skipped a beat, and he is still pressuring the quarterback. I think half of his tackles are tackles for losses or sacks. I mean, he's a drive ender, which makes him really valuable. The backers are young. They're playing well. The other D linemen are good players too. Are they special like Howell? No, but they're pretty damn good. And the 2 corners with that pressure, with Ricks and with Lee, they're both long. They both can use their length. They press well. They're not great in off coverage, but they're really good in press, and they're good in zone. They got good eyes. With that rush, they don't have to cover dudes very long. And there's not a lot of people threatening the middle of the field on them because they don't have time. So, I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, not going to lie to you. And LSU's going to have their hands full because their kind of strength plays into their weakness. And that's what's hard for LSU because they can't protect Garrett right now. I wish they could because he's not showing people what he really is right now. He's not. And they need to be able to run the football.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think LSU's offensive line was great last year when they were getting all the hype, but they're struggling on the offensive line too. They're kind of like Texas.
Yeah, they've got a lot of injuries too, and it isn't like and see that's the problem. I mean, whether it's Texas, whether it's LSU, it's not where you had your seconds were really developing and being close to your first. Now, most of those seconds are gone. And really, you go from your first to your thirds, on most of the occasions because those guys pack up and leave because they go, "Oh, I'm not playing." They don't want to spend the time. I want to go somewhere where I'm playing. I want to increase my brand. I mean, I've heard it all. I mean, and guess what? Fight through some adversity. Learn the process, mature, grow up. Okay, and guess what? Alabama had guys that got drafted that played 1 year. 1 year and got drafted high, because guess what? There was a lot of really good dudes ahead of them,
Yeah.
And so again, that's my get off my grass time today, but these guys don't understand how to deal with adversity at all. And I always said, hey, once it gets tough, all they do is 88, I'm gone. I'm out. It's too tough. Guess what? Life's tough.
Yeah.
And when life kicks them in the face, later on, they're not going to know how to adapt to it. They're not.
Yeah.
So, again, and it's not just their fault either. I'll put some of it on the parents too, because, I got to be honest with you, the kids weren't that hard to deal with. It was the parents. It really was. And I hate to say it, and I'm using the word, that probably shouldn't use, but I got tired of parents pimping their kid out. And it just bothers me, because it's like, hey, $20,000 difference. Yeah. So what? You're thinking about the short money. Well, they're thinking about that money right now because they're taking it from the kid.
Yeah.
There were parents that took the money from the kid. The kid couldn't even pay rent. And I'm going like, okay, is this really the kid's fault? No. Sorry. I got salty. I apologize.
Well, no, you were a GM, so you understand it.
Yeah. And and it's pathetic. It really is. And like I said, nobody thinks about, the long-term money anymore. They don't think about long money. They don't think about, hey, this could be, if you do it the right way, it could be generational money. They always think like, oh, it's $20,000 more. Okay, let's jump here. Okay. And guess what? Team's not that good. And the other part of it is, guess what? You're not going to play there either. You're going to have to take your time to play there too. So then you're going to be disgruntled again. So it's like, and here's a capper. I got to throw this one at you. A lot of these guys aren't paying taxes on their money. That's why they're jumping ship, because they're getting more extra money from the next school so they can pay the taxes on the money that they already took in. That's why some of them are leaving. Yeah. Whose fault's that?
Why are they getting financial help from the university?
They are.
They're just not paying
sorry,
attention.
They are. Guess what? Here's your check. You are a 1099. You will get taxed on this money. Put away at least 25%. At least. Probably a little bit more. People are telling them, guess what? If they become an LLC because they become their own business, right? They should have a tax attorney. We said, guess what? We'll steer you to one. We will steer you to one. You still have to pay them to do your taxes, be your tax attorney, but we will give you the name of that person. But did they do it? Who knows? Who knows? So there you go. Like I said, now you got me really salty today.
Hey, you see the jewelry that they got on every time, Drew? When I be looking at that, it makes me cringe, man.
Okay, now, let me tell you this. Now, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Doing that on social media is bad enough, okay? Because you set yourself as a target for robbery on social media. But those are only people that actually see that, right? You go on national TV wearing 16 carats, right, or more, you set yourself up nationally to get your ass robbed. Why would you do that? And it's not about look at me. To those thieves, it's like, hey, we already know he's got money.
Yeah.
So, again, how smart is that?
Yeah.
I never thought that I would see a college football player walk in with a $20,000 Louis bag. Never thought I'd see it, ever. Saw it all the time. I'm going like, why? Why do you need a $20,000 Louis bag, right? Why do you need the necklace, right? Why don't you put it away? Why don't you invest in some real estate? Why don't you set yourself up for life after football? Because guess what? There's going to be life after football. And get prepared for it.
Come on, Drew. Real estate ain't getting you the honeys. They ain't getting you the babes, man. The chains, the jewelry, the bling.
I get it, Zay. But think about it now. How would you like to have left college, right? Let's say with $600,000 in your bank account and 2 rental properties.
Sound pretty good to me.
I would have loved that.
Oh man.
And again, because where are they going to make 6 figures when they don't play football?
Yeah.
Where? TV? Radio? Right? Few and
Not
far
radio.
between. Yeah, I was going to say few and far between, right? I mean, where you're going to make six figures, right? So again, it's a strange time, dude. And I mean, and it's going to change, and it's going to change slowly, but it's going to change. It really is, because it's going to have to, because this is insane, and you can never build any chemistry with a team. And I got asked today, they said, well, what was the difference between Indiana? I said, well, because he brought half of his team from James Madison with him. I said, they set the culture. He set the tone. They set the culture because they already knew. So he didn't have to establish that with like 50 guys that are coming in off the street and trying to make them believe in what he's doing. These guys already did. And then when he started winning, everybody else kind of fell in line, right? Well, there's other teams that are taking 60 and 70 guys, and guess what? They're blowing the tires off the rims because it's so bad. But, you know, they thought, hey, he can do it. Why can't I? Well, because you got no chemistry. You got no leadership. And you're going to find that. And here's the other piece. Why are they in the transfer portal? There's normally a reason why.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's normally a reason. So.
You think the money that Kurt Signetti got is money well spent?
You know, I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to, again, the head coaches make a boatload of money, and, you know, they get big buyouts and everything else. And everybody says, oh, well, I feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for any of those guys because they make so much money. I feel sorry for the head coaches. I mean, I feel sorry for the coordinators and the assistant coaches. And I feel sorry for the kids, you know, because the next guy may come in and say, I don't want any of you. Right. And, you know, and again, I don't know if it's money well spent. I mean, at Indiana, I mean, how many times can you say that they've even been in the top 10 in the last 50 years?
Right.
Once,
one of the
maybe?
losingest programs in the history of college football.
Yeah, I was going to say the last time I can remember being really, really successful was like Bill Mallory back in the late 70s maybe, or early 80s or something. I mean, going to a Rose Bowl, but I mean, you know, that's up to them whether that's money well spent. I just don't know. I don't know how much those enormous buyouts hurt your program when it's all said and done. I really don't, because that's money that could be going into your revenue share or your NIL piece. I mean, so, but then again, you got to spend more money to retain the players because 50% of them are leaving. So, you know, you're not just losing, and put it this way, let's just say it's a $46 million buyout for the head coach. Well, that's not counting the assistant coaches, because most of them are on 2-year contracts. Some of them got 3 now. Well, you're buying them out. Then you're probably getting rid of a lot of the support staff, which half of those are actually contracted too. So, and then you're going to lose 50% of your players. So then you're going to have to go buy 50%. So your 48 million end up being probably about 78 or 79 million when it's all said and done. But they don't think about that. It's like, oh, you know, fans go, oh, okay, well, we'll just make it work. No, when you don't have the money, you don't have the money. So, and again, there's a lot of have-nots out there still, and they're always going to be have-nots. So, again, are some of those jobs good jobs? No.
Yeah. Would you, if you're Lane Kiffin, would you leave Ole Miss for Florida?
No, absolutely not.
You know? Why?
Well, because, again, what are the expectations at Florida? I mean, the expectations are win a national championship, compete against Miami and Florida State recruiting every day of the week. Plus, right up the road, there's that buzzsaw called Georgia recruiting too. Okay? So you're fighting those 4 people, right? I mean, those 4 schools all the time. All the time. And you think he's going to go down to Miami and beat Mario and guys now? That ain't happening, right? So you don't see expectations at Ole Miss. Are they happy with 8, 10 wins a year?
Yeah.
Hell yes. Hell yes. So again, do you go down there and they expect you to win every damn game, win the East, win the SEC championship and go play for national championship? Or they're pissed off, right? They are. Because Spurrier did it. Bourbon did it. Why can't you do it? Right? I don't know. I mean, it's funny to me that, you know, just because it's Florida, they seem to think that that's a better job than Ole Miss. Well, it is, but also the expectations are a hell of a lot higher. They are. And he seems to be living a pretty good life right now.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he looked real happy Saturday morning before.
That's right.
For sure.
That's right. And they played Georgia. They played Georgia really well. They really did.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what. I mean, it's going to be hard for me to believe that, they won't beat OU. Really.
Yeah.
How do you see that game playing out?
Pardon?
How do you see that one playing out? You got Ole Miss?
Yeah, I do. Because I think they're explosive offensively, and they play good enough defense to where they'll slow Mateer down, and they won't be able to run the ball on Ole Miss. They won't. And I'm with Lance too. I think that Auburn's walking into a buzzsaw because Bobby Petrino is one of the best offensive coordinators in this country, hands down, not even close. I mean, he's playing chess when a lot of guys are playing checkers. He'll, like I said, he'll chime them up now. It won't be 14 points that Arkansas puts on the board. I promise you it won't be. Yeah.
I know you got to go soon, Drew, but who takes that Arkansas job?
Ooh, I don't know. They'll probably chase Lashley. I just don't know if he'll take it. I just don't know. I mean, right now, SMU's a good job. I mean, it's a good job. Good conference to play in. Got plenty of money. They're getting players. I mean, heck, they're getting 3- and 4-star guys pretty regularly now. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, it's got to be somebody that understands, that place a little bit. You got to understand that you really are going to be behind the 8 ball, because even the AD admitted that they don't have the money or the resources to compete with the Texas and A&Ms of the world. So, I mean, that makes it a challenge already, doesn't it?
Yeah. They're giving all the money to John Calipari. That's why.
Well, and again, that's their choice. That's their choice. But I don't know. Like I said, that's not an easy job. Everybody thinks that, hey, just because it's an SEC job that it's easy. It's not. It's always been hard. And when they were in the Southwest Conference, at least they could go in and raid the hell out of Texas, because they were playing, 90% of their games in the state of Texas.
Right.
So, and that goes way back. But you look at that whole East Texas side, and that's where a lot of their players were coming from, a lot. And, from Quinn Grovey, some of those guys were like all Texas dudes. So, I mean, again, it's a hard job. If people think it's easy, it's not.
Well, Drew, man, we always love the conversation. What do you think about the Cowboys? I mean, the offense is cooking. There was some rumor about maybe trading for Max Crosby. I mean, does that make any sense after?
It makes sense. I mean, but again, then are you trading away the resources that you bought by the trade with Micah? I mean, if you're talking about building, through the draft and building your numbers lower, because that's why you build in the draft, because you don't have to pay them for 4 to 5 years. It makes it easier for you. Makes sense, but I mean, I don't think that they probably go that direction. It was nice to see Flus go after him. He just decided, heck, I mean, it goes way back to who my mentor was, when he was like, hey, if you can't get there with 4, you better bring 5. And I go, okay. He says, well, you can't get there with 5, you better bring 6. Right? I go, okay. He said, well, you can't get there with 6. He said, better send 7. He said, then you better hold on to your ass. Right? So, I mean, you got to take that risk, and you got to stop drives, because that offense is explosive. And again, they're running the ball now too, which makes it even harder, because people are having to stay in a 2 shell because the receivers now, they can't go to man free. They can't go to man, because now one of them dudes got 1-on-1 and pick and choose. Who are you going to double?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to double Pickens, you're going to double CD.
Yeah, no doubt. Right. Who do you got? Mizzou, Vandy.
Is it at Vandy?
It's at Vandy. Vandy's favored by 2.5.
Boy, Diego and that offense and that defense is playing really well. They're hard to go against right now. I think Missouri's a little bit more talented, but I think that Vandy may actually win that game.
Yeah, Vandy's kind of believing right now.
Yeah, Well, they're believing because that quarterback believes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And he's a dog now. He's a straight bulldog.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't fit any of the NFL
Nope.
mold,
Not a one.
but he'll get a shot.
Yeah, he will. And it'll probably be somebody that has that some semblance of an offense like Baltimore with like Lamar, something like that, to where he'd be a real solid backup for them, to where, he gets you through a couple of games and you wouldn't have to change the offense, wholesale wise. And it's kind of the same thing. He'll get a chance because he's too good of a college football player not to give him a chance. He is. I mean, respect his game greatly, and his roommate, pretty good too now. Eli Stowers.
Yeah, the tight end.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And that junior running back, pretty good.
Alexander.
Yeah. Cedric.
Cedric, yeah. He's an Austin kid.
Yeah, he's a good player. So it's been good. It's been a good year so far. And like I said, I'm just kind of waiting to see how things kind of fall back together.
Yeah, Texas gets Vanderbilt after they take on Mississippi State. So we'll
see.
We'll see how that goes. We'll be talking about that next week, Drew.
Absolutely.
All right. Appreciate you.
Likewise, fellas.
Look forward to it next week.
Okay. You guys have a good day. Have a good weekend too. Enjoy it.
All right. Here he is. Drew Fabianich, the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl. Follow him on social media at DFABE, FABESB. All right, Zay, let's get a couple mentions in here and we'll get cooking towards the commentary. Hey guys, take advantage of this great partnership we have right now with the Sleep Cycle Center. Guys, if you're snoring, it's more than just annoying to the person sleeping next to you. It could be the sign of a serious health issue called sleep apnea. Sleep apnea means you're not getting enough oxygen when you're asleep, which is scary. And the guy who started the Sleep Cycle Center, Dr. Chad Denman, has dedicated his life to treating sleep apnea because it killed his own father at the age of 60. So he's passionate about making sure that this never happens to you or anyone you know. And so if you're snoring and you know from the person sleeping next to you, take advantage of this partnership. All you have to do is go to sleepcyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. They're going to take $100 off your sleep study. That sleep study is going to measure your level of sleep apnea. And that technology that Dr. Chad has is the best. He's got the best treatment options as well, including oral appliances. Like I have a mouth guard that holds my lower jaw open when I sleep so that I get that oxygen and that deep sleep. It's what you got to do. Take care of yourself and take advantage of this great partnership. Just go to sleepcyclecenters.com and tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. And hey, cover three, great food, great drinks, great service. And we're heading into the weekend. Don't forget about brunch at Cover 3. The do-it-yourself Bloody Mary bar, the breakfast quesadilla, great brunch. And just a great place to hang out. I mean, happy hour every day from 3:30 to 6:30. You got the $7 social hour menu. So you're eating like a king or queen for fast food prices during happy hour at Cover 3. Cover 3 Anderson, Cover 3 Round Rock. You need a place to watch your favorite team this weekend. For Texas fans, especially, a great place to watch Longhorns. Cover 3. And Tom McKay and Audiovisual Consultations, avconsultations.com. But here's the thing. Tom's been, putting big screen TVs and surround sound in homes and restaurants in Austin for 37 years. He's the man. He's the go-to. Great partner here at Texas Sports Unfiltered. But when you're ready for the big screen of your dreams, there's really only one number to call in Austin, and that is 255-8678. And you just call that number, set up the appointment. Tom is going to bring you the best price on big screens. So it's so simple. You got things to do. You're busy. You don't need to be, lugging TVs around town, punching holes in your drywall, just call 255-8678. All right, Zay. Listen, this is going to be a crazy weekend. It's going to be a crazy weekend. We're getting into separation Saturdays now. I mean, for Texas, every Saturday is separation Saturday. Every game is an SEC championship game for Texas. And this is on Steve Sarkisian and Kyle Flood to fix what we saw last weekend. They did it after the Florida game, came up with a great game plan, rallied the troops. They went into the Cotton Bowl, scored an impressive victory with complimentary football. And now, fourth straight game away from home. You're not going to have Michael Taff. You're going to have, you don't have an offensive line. So you've got to figure it out. And this is problem solving at its finest. And you're going into the, Davis Wade with all these cowbells. These players have never heard anything like this before. My guys who cover Mississippi State for the 24/7 site say you need to bring earplugs so that you at least have the option. That's how loud it gets with those cowbells. And again, you're not supposed to be bringing in artificial noisemakers into college stadiums. And they just let it happen at Mississippi State.
Yeah, how are they above the law?
Huh?
How are they above the law?
Yeah. Like,
because they've been bad? Like, is that it?
I guess.
Yeah, that has to be it. Like, they're bad. Oh, it's Mississippi State. They need something.
Right.
But
I mean, yeah, this is a big week for Steve Sarkisian and Kyle Flood, because you gotta show that you can dress up that short passing game, make it look different, make it work, and get your running game going. I mean, it was astounding how little commitment there was to the running game against Kentucky. And Kentucky laid down a blueprint. I mean, Kentucky's a zone team, and they went man, and they were blitzing underneath like crazy and zone pressuring. And, they had got smart football players. I thought Kentucky's defense played really well. They play hard. They're disciplined. Everyone's going to look at that tape and say, okay. And if they think they have the personnel, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to work over Nick Brooks like he's a welcome mat, because until he shows he can put his eyes in the right place, put his hands in the right place, not lean, not reach to where looks like he's on a, playing the dizzy bat game. Well, then here it comes. So Jure Bledsoe. Nick doesn't know anything about Jure Bledsoe, but Jure Bledsoe spent a couple years at Texas, and he's not their best defensive lineman, but he's in the rotation. So Brendan Thompson sure seems like he's hungry to get a piece of Texas. So there's some interesting storylines here. There's some interesting dynamics. I mean, no team in the country is playing 4 straight games away from home. But because the Texas OU game, Texas was the home team, the SEC felt like, okay, that's a home game.
Yeah, you're in Texas.
So
you get to drive, so you're good.
And they tried not to schedule stuff during ACL. They tried not to schedule stuff during F1. And this is what Texas got. So there's so much going on in Austin, it almost works against Texas in the month of October. And there we are. But yeah, no one in major college football is playing 4 straight games away from home. So let's see how Steve Sarkisian's coaching staff get these guys pumped and ready to go find a way to win this game, because Texas is on a week-to-week basis here. And, they'll finally get to come home, play a 5th straight game against Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt on November 1st. So let's see what the energy level looks like for Texas. Let's see how fired up they are. I mean, the defense was coming to the, aid of the offense last week in the post game. Ryan Niblett's probably the MVP of the team right now. This is going to be a really good test of the connectivity of this football team. And with no Michael Taff, I mean, he'll be there. He'll be, trying to coach them from the sidelines, just like Cole Hudson was trying to coach from the sidelines on crutches last week.
He ain't help at all.
That didn't work so well. Connor Robertson.
I appreciate the effort, but I don't know if it helped any. Connor
Robertson looked worse.
Oh, he looks so bad
than he did against OU 2 years ago. So, yeah. Jake Majors, Texas fans miss you. Did you know Jake Majors is on the practice squad for the Eagles?
Huh, good for him.
Yeah, so he got released by the Bucks, but he got picked up on the practice squad of the Eagles. So that's where Jake Majors.
What else did Sark say in the presser today that Hank sent you? What else he talking about?
I don't know. Why don't you tell the folks about some stuff, and I'll let you know.
All right. Let's get into it. Shout out to Covert BK, family owned and operated, the best in the business, new pre-owned vehicles. They got both. They will hook you up and help you find what you want, what you need, what your family needs. Hey, you could be dolo by yourself. What you need. You need a new car? Covert BK will hook you up. If you don't want to take my word for how great Covert BK is, especially as a Covert BK customer myself, listen to these fine folks at Covert BK.
You see Covert everywhere. It's that personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever.
All right, so Steve Sarkisian talked about the soft tissue injuries, these hamstrings that have been problematic. He said CJ Baxter's looked good. They've pushed him hard. And, he said, coming off these hamstrings, the players are always a little bit unsure about how hard they can go. But he said that he thought Baxter looked good and got stronger as the week went on. So they feel like he's got a real chance to play in this game. And, he praised Christian Clark for coming on. So, yeah, it looks like CJ Baxter will be on the field for Texas. And, yeah.
That'd be the first time CJ Baxter and Katravian Weisner playing the same game since Ohio State.
Yep.
That's
How about that?
Yeah.
Game 8. Together in game 1 and game 8.
Jeez.
And, no one wants to hear about it because Texas has depth. They have players. They have number 1 recruiting class. They've got, they're supposed to have player after player after player, and then you look at the offensive line and you're like, what happened there? So there's no doubt they missed and failed to go to the portal. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
All righty then. Well, I guess for the right call, we could go over the whole NBA betting situation again. For those who just now joining us, we talked about that at the beginning of the show. One of Chip and my favorite players of all time might be getting locked up like Akon. Chauncey Billups, as Chip holds up his picture of Mr. Big Shot back in 2004 when the Pistons beat the Los Angeles Lakers in an upset NBA Finals victory 4-1. Nobody saw it coming. The Lakers went out and got Gary Payton. They got Karl Malone to go along with Shaq and Kobe and Mr. Big Shot and Rip and Tayshaun and Ben and Rasheed Wallace. Just legendary guys, man. They said, not so fast, Phil Jackson. This is our championship. And Mr. Big Shot, he was a big part of that, being Finals MVP. And now, my man Chauncey, they got him behind bars, allegedly. Allegedly. Got to keep saying that. Free Chauncey. I'm on my free Chauncey stuff, Chip. I'll be rocking shirts and everything. If I see him, free Chauncey shirts. He ain't kill nobody. You know? Terry Rozier, Damon Jones, y'all could get caught up. If y'all get locked up, y'all have it coming. Chauncey, we fighting for Chauncey here on Chip and Zay. You know what I mean? Because
why? It just makes no sense. Like, they must, I mean, like, they had so much. I guess. Yeah. I mean, Chauncey's an NBA coach.
You're a coach, bro. You didn't, for one, he didn't have to do that.
Right. So what happened?
Yeah, what happened?
What happened that you are in this horrible place tied in allegedly with the mob? Like, how do you even get into that world where you're somehow connected to the mob?
What's the mob like in Detroit? I feel like they don't play.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I know they have the black mafia families from Detroit with God, why
it's
could I
not like Chicago?
Big Meech. Yeah, Big Meech, black mafia family. They're out of Detroit. But
yeah, it does make you wonder if Chauncey's, in that world and in debt, and that's frightening.
Yo, there's always that weird conspiracy theory with MJ and his pops. That's always a weird one.
Right.
Like, what was MJ about?
Right.
Pops got mysteriously killed, like, on the side of the road. That's a weird story. MJ started playing baseball and stuff, but it didn't have nothing to do with it. It's Mike. We got to protect Mike. We got to protect. It's like we got to protect Shohei. We got to protect Mike. Ain't no way Michael's in that. Mike didn't have a gambling problem. He had a competitive problem. That's what he told Ahmad Rashad back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't have a gambling problem when he had those sunglasses on. I'd be pawning my house. I'd be asking for money on the streets. I don't have a gambling problem. I have a competitive problem. Oh, man. Hey, he had to sell out Hair of the Dog. Chauncey has to sell out. He has to. He can't be getting locked up for these jabronis out here. These guys, criminals, Free Chauncey, man. Jonte Porter, lock him up. Terry Rozier, lock him up. Terry Rozier, shame on Terry Rozier. Counting the money with the homies, allegedly. $200,000? Why can't you just give the homies $200K? You got it. Terry Rozier's almost made more than $100 million.
That's what makes no sense. That's what makes no sense. And remember, NBA players, this was a stat from 2009 that Sean Adams, it was unbelievable then. I'm sure it's probably not that far off now, but 67% of NBA players were broke within 2 years of retirement. 67%. Like, guys just burning through money.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know. We'll find out. We will find out.
We found out, yeah.
Just good investigative journalism will dig in there and find out how on earth these guys who've made millions in their career somehow got tied up in this racket, allegedly.
Like if I'm Terry Rozier, I'm just saying, yo, y'all my homies. Y'all need the money. Here y'all go. But y'all gonna have to work for it. I'm not just gonna hand it over. Somebody gonna have to mow the lawn. Somebody gonna have to pick up my baby from my baby mama and bring her over. I need a driver at all times. Make sure.
No, you're not making any kind of deals with the mob or.
I'm not talking about the mob. I'm talking about the homies. I'm talking about Terry Rozier, who told his friends, hey, y'all should put the under on me tonight. I ain't gonna be playing that long. Because they got this fool, allegedly, counting the money at the crib with the homies. These are your friends. $200K? We're sitting around the table counting up $200K after a game that Terry just fixed. If you're his real friend, you're telling him, no, Terry, please don't risk your career on little old me. Just give me the money instead.
Right.
Just give me the money. Don't worry about it. I could use about $50K. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and turn it over, and I could be on my way. Ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Yeah, Snoop and Dre told us that in 93. T-Cox 2389. Just ask VY. See, VY wasn't betting on none. He was just taking the homies to the Cheesecake Factory every other night.
Yeah, and buying Louis the 14th shots at $75 a pop.
That wasn't a good move. You know, that wasn't a good move. You could have got some Don Julio for a little cheaper.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. These guys. Damon Jones was really wilding. Using LeBron, of all people. You know, LeBron, you see what happened to Delonte West, right? I'd be careful talking about mobster LeBron. LeBron got some connections that are a little scary. You know, that's why Russell Westbrook has lost his mind about LeBron in that tell-all book that just came out this week. You know, because apparently LeBron didn't speak very highly of Russ, which is why Russ has bounced around, which you ask me, I put that on Westbrook and his lack of production on the court. But still, Delonte West, they talk about Delonte and LeBron's mama. Now Delonte homeless. Now everybody talk about all these mental health problems Delonte had. He wasn't having those problems when he was at St. Joseph. When him and Jameer Nelson were going to the Final Four. He didn't have no problems then. And then all the rumors about his mama came out. And now every time they show a video with Delonte West, he out here like looking like Pookie from New Jack City. Be careful, Damon Jones.
Hey, what did you think of the Spurs Mavericks game?
Yo, man, I told Spurs fans, be careful. Relax. Don't get too excited. Stay even kill. It's 1 out of 82. But Victor Wembanyama, yo, that SOB. There was one play, Chip. Mavs come down. They throw up some crap. Wembanyama almost touching the top of the backboard. He snatches it. Block. He comes back down on the other end offensively. He has Anthony Davis guarding him. Arguably one of the best defenders of all time. AD could move, AD could jump, great timing on blocks, laterally, he's all there. Victor Wembanyama has AD on skates. He's going between the legs, going behind the back, step back, and 1-3. It's just like, what do you do with this? Like, what do you do with this guy? I like Castle running the point too. He's clearly improved his ball handling skills, this is what the Spurs saw. Like when the Spurs drafted Castle that high, coming out of UConn, the dude didn't play much on-ball point for Dan Hurley and the Huskies that lone year he was there, which they won a national championship. But you saw that, okay, if we could work on this guy's point guard skills, he could be something, which is why picking up Dylan Harper was weird, especially when you have De'Aaron Fox. Because, again, I like Castle with the rock in his hands. He was making some good moves. He had 22 points last night. He's so athletic, man. And Cooper Flagg struggled. He looked a little nervous out there. I don't know why he's running point for Jason Kidd. Like, that's their thing. Like, they want Cooper Flagg to be their point guard. They started Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, and Derek Lively. So somebody has to be your point there. And Jason Kidd, which he knows something about being a point guard, had Cooper Flagg running this point. I don't know if he's there yet. I'm not saying he won't get there, but he ran some pick and roll stuff at Duke, but he wasn't really bringing the ball up the court every time. So it's just, I think he was a little out of place last night. Again, game 1 out of 82. You can't judge one game on their whole career or the whole season, but I thought that was a little odd. It's kind of like with Ime Udoka and playing the Thompson twin at point because they don't have Van Vliet anymore because of the ACL injury. Like that, these are weird moves that these coaches are trying. Like these guys aren't point guards, and I get it. The traditional point guard in the NBA is not existent. Like that doesn't exist anymore. Halliburton's the closest thing that we've seen to that, and he's a solid three-point shooter. Like the old days of Stockton and guys like that, they don't exist anymore. So they're trying to find guys that can be tweeners, that can handle the ball, but are bigger. And right now, I see that being a struggle for guys like Amen Thompson or Cooper Flagg, but they can get better.
And the Spurs beat the Mavs 125-92 without De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
How long is he going to be out?
I don't know.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
That's impressive. No, Wembanyama, he was doing some stuff last night.
40.
Yeah.
He scored 40 last night.
Easy. He dunking, just being physical. Remember, KG, the Monks, Hakeem, he's been busy this summer trying to figure out how to improve his game and his mental and, trying to be as durable as possible because that's what you fear, Chip, him being as big as he is and lasting. Well, if he's playing like that and stays healthy, this is what the whole league was scared of when he got to in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
His potential is ridiculous.
Watch out. Watch out for them Spurs. You know what I'm saying?
Spurs, man. Go Spurs, go.
All right, let's open up the gym here. Bring in Patrick and Matt.
Remember, guys, defense wins championships, as Nico Harrison famously said.
Right. Just give it time.
Yeah. And remember that when your shortest player is 6'7", you probably don't have the lateral movement to guard any guards whatsoever. Guys are just going to run around on you all game, and you're going to pick up a ton of fouls because you're just bumping guys. They're quicker than you. Every team feels they have to go through this experiment. The Spurs just did it 2 years ago when they put Sohan at the point. Remember, that was 2 years ago. Every team is doing it now where they go, well, there's no point guards who can hit threes at that level of Steph Curry. So let's just get rid of point guards. And you're like, have you not watched like how good Mike Conley made like 7 different teams by being just a really good point guard and running around? And they like Shaq in the post game goes, well, all you do is pass the ball off now. And I'm like, Shaq, just because you don't understand how basketball works, because you're a giant idiot who is just born blessed to be huge, doesn't mean you have to ruin every post game by being the biggest idiot in the world.
Wow,
And
Diesel stray.
Diesel ruins inside the NBA. I cannot stand him. Every single time they're like, well, that guy's over 6'9". He goes, well, he should sit in the post and dunk the ball. And I go, well, what if he plays basketball a slightly different way than you, Shaq? And he goes, well, then he's the worst player in the history of time. You know what I did? And I go, I don't care what you did. 20 years ago, Shaq. Nobody cares. Shut up. Get off my TV. But that being said, use point guards, people. Point guards. I get the Rockets. They had a point guard. He got hurt. They kept him. He got hurt. But the Mavs, Jason Kidd pretending to put Cooper Flag, it's such a way to stunt his growth as a good player as he's going to be. Such a dumb way to do it.
Yeah,
it's almost like you shouldn't have traded away the best point guard in the NBA.
Well, in the reality, they have a point guard. They have one. He's hurt, but they signed D'Angelo Russell they signed D'Angelo Russell to spell him. And by the way, Luka's not a point guard. Luka's a guard, but he's not a point guard. The point guard directs traffic and does everything else. Luka waits for the ball and then does his own thing. He's amazing at it. Don't get me wrong. But he's not a point guard like Kyrie, who can get somebody to come off the wing and set a pick for a play that he's not involved in, but will set up an easy dunk because he understands basketball at that level. And there's just not like to put a rookie into doing that is insane.
That's crazy.
Hey,
guys, man, y'all have a good show. We
tomorrow.
Appreciate you. Welcome in to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. The text line's open 512-222-9328. And of course, on the chat here on Facebook, Twitch, X, and of course on YouTube. Matt, you were really close in your prediction yesterday.
Yeah, I was about to say I said 127 to 96, and what was it?
125 to 92.
Man,
you were 6 points away. 6 points away.
That's hard in the NBA too
to get it that close. But no, it was a ton of fun to watch Wemby last night. It was a ton of fun to watch the Spurs team look much, much better. But yeah, it was Dallas, you're like, there's a lot of talent, but they just expected it's I don't get Jason Kidd being a point guard and leaving Cooper Flag and go, no, let's play, because their lineup was Cooper Flag at point, Klay Thompson at the 2, PJ Washington at the 3, Anthony Davis at the 4, and then Derek Lively at the 5. And so it's supposed to be a huge lineup, and they got dunked on and missed all of those rebounds and everything that you'd want a big lineup for. None of them, they did them no good on the defensive end to be that big.
Hey, you know what? Defense wins championships. Luka Doncic is fat and out of shape and can't win you a championship, and Cooper Flag playing point guard is the answer.
No, I mean, I get that Kyrie Irving's our point guard, but we're going to try and stick it's kind of, we played that Casario clip, and we'll stick our 5 best players out there, and that will work.
That'll work.
It's more that concept is we'll stick our 5 best out, and then they're basketball players, and they'll go make it work. And you're like, not in the NBA. That works on pickup, that works in some other things, but not like it works in a scrimmage if you're not calling plays like you're calling in the game. There's not defenses set up and guys scheming against you and watching film. It doesn't work as well that way. And Castle was able to guard Cooper Flag. So even the advantage you would have had of having a size advantage at that position, you lose because Castle could guard him. So it didn't. And Temple Brutus, go ahead.
Temple of Brutus, I'm fat, out of shape as well. So I'm not firing strays. I'm embracing my fellow fat and out of shape people.
And I will tell you, that is not a stripper boot. That is a signed Ric Flair wrestling boot back there. So that is my signed Ric Flair wrestling boots. That is what it up there. So you were close with Rick's, but it was, but Rick's also, come on, go for it. A more old school one. Throw me a yellow rose or a landing strip or somebody more of my time frame. Some of the places I maybe have visited once or twice in my lifetime. I won't go into any more of those. And Johnny, I'll say this about PJ Washington. PJ Washington is great in a rotation with Lively and Anthony Davis. Those three guys as your three bigs is awesome because you'll always have a really good defender and you'll always have a really good scorer out there. Because between PJ and Anthony Davis, one of them will be out there. Both of them can score really well. Derek Lively's not a big scorer yet, but a great defensive presence. So a lot of those, like I think those three, playing him at the 3 didn't work though. He was good offensively, but just garbage defensively because he couldn't stay in front of anybody.
Defense wins championships, baby.
And the Spurs went small and are going to go smaller when De'Aaron Fox comes back because you cannot bench Steph Castle at this point. He's playing too well. Steph Castle had 22 points last night as well, along with 7 rebounds and 6 assists. So he had another really good game and played lockdown defense. Devin Vassell shot the ball well enough. I know he was only 1 for 4 from 3, but he had you 13 points as well. So they all did well for this team. But yeah, Victor Wembanyama, Matt, if you go back and watch some of those highlights, there was an and one reverse dunk that Wembanyama had on Anthony Davis. That was nuts. So it was a lot of fun to watch. The refs, by the way, on both sides called way, way too many fouls. Just way, way too many fouls in this game. Everything underneath was a foul. So it was ridiculous because there was a point where it was like, I thought in the second half they were going to tone down the fouls a little bit, and then they kept calling everything. And it was just when you're the Mavs and you play a more aggressive style of basketball and you have a ref that is not allowing you to be aggressive at all, it is going to be rough. I agree. I'm with you, Matt. I'm with you. Fire Nico. I'm aware. But
you see he got a fan kicked out of the game for a Fire Nico sign last night.
Of course he did.
What
by the way, you could hear the Go Spurs Goes chants on TV. You should not be able to hear that in Dallas. Like what they had built, everything, you should not be able to, first of all, sell that many tickets to Cooper Flagg's first game in Dallas and have that many tickets bought by Spurs fans and then have a audible Go Spurs Go where there's a point where you see Wemby get up off the bench and start getting the crowd hyped up because he's like, there's our fans out here. That was nuts.
Here's what I hope happens, Patrick. And first of all, congrats to the Spurs. They look really, really good.
Yeah, it's one game too.
And I know that you've been waiting for them to look really, really good. So hopefully this continues and they continue to look really, really good. Because I do like the Spurs. I think that when the Spurs are good, the NBA is better, and they're one of the best run franchises in the NBA. But here's what I hope happens, Patrick. I hope the Mavericks start 0-10, and then they fire Jason Kidd and fire Nico Harrison and hire all new people, and then they trade Cooper Flagg and a future first-round pick back to the Lakers for Luka.
I don't want him to do that.
I would love that. That would fix everything.
It would not fix anything. It would make people a little bit happier, but I think people want to keep Cooper Flagg. I think you got to call Lakers back. You sure you don't want Anthony Davis back? You sure you don't need a big down there? But yeah, I think the Lucas ship has sailed as far as him coming back, and at least in the Nico world. And the Lakers aren't going to trade their future guy because they're not idiots. Just the Mavs are. But then they got lucked out and got Cooper Flagg. Because that's the other thing, is the Mavs are like being basically relying on Cooper Flagg and then sticking him in a position at the point guard where he's not going to be able to do what he does well. That is crazy. But yeah, all that happens. And according to Trey Johnson had a solid first game as well. 16 points he did have he had a good game scoring well enough. Too many turnovers. I think he had 5 turnovers in the game as well. And every rookie does. Like every rookie has a hard time when they get into gameplay and they turn the ball over. Steph Castle ended up with 4. as well. Dylan Harper had some. Like, it's not taking a shot at Trey Johnson that there turnovers. Everyone does, but it's going to take him a while to really earn a lot of playing time because you just have to you have to learn how to take better shots. You have to learn how to control where you're going with the ball when you're playing in these NBA games. But he did have a good start, 16 points in his first game. Was good to see for Trey Johnson. And Chan, yes, only once or twice in my lifetime. Only once or twice that I'm willing to admit to right now. But yeah, ball handling is huge. In the college game, you can't pressure as much as they do. The arms aren't as long, the athleticism is not there. So it becomes basically every rookie. And that was like one of the most impressive parts about Wimby's stat line last night, Matt. 0 turnovers.
That's impressive for a guy that's 7'11" or whatever he is. Did you see the picture of him standing next to Cooper Flagg?
Yeah.
It looked like an NBA player standing next to a teenager.
It's crazy.
It was wild.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg is 6'7", 6'9", something like that. He's a big dude. But yeah, all of those pieces you saw together, no turnovers. He also only took 2 threes. He's being much more aggressive. There was one crazy 3 that he did hit on a foul where he basically does a couple crossovers and everything and tries to drive, then hits a step back 3 that he gets fouled on. And you're just like, what do you do? And I text my buddy and I go, he's the literal monster from Space Jam. He looks like that type of player now. It's ridiculous.
I'm very happy for you, Patrick.
So it's on game. It's going to be a very long season, but it is. Yeah, and Cooper's 18. Cooper will be very good at basketball. I don't mean to say anything that Cooper Flagg will not be good. I think putting him at a point guard position is silly to do at this point in his career, where he can go create a lot more if you take him off ball. I think will help his progress, and I think he's going to be extremely good. I think that them pretending to be saved by Cooper Flagg as a genius move because they got lucky and won the lottery is what I mean to say. They shouldn't pretend that that's going to save them. Because
do we think Cooper Flagg is going to be better than Luka?
Probably, yeah. Like an overall player. I mean, I say that's a really, really, really hard bar to set. But if you were to look at players coming out of high school, you expect Cooper to be in the MVP hunt for a large part of his career. And he should be a better defender. He should be a better passer. He should be a lot of things better than he will probably never be the scorer Luka is, because Luka is one of the greatest scorers of all time. But as a team basketball player, Cooper could definitely end up with more rings as a MVP and all of that. Like, I think that's very possible. Now, that's all being said after one NBA game. So he could also be a complete bust and have injury problems or do whatever else. But it's like, if you just seen what he's done at 18 years old, he's ridiculously good.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Well, I'm probably not going to watch another Mavericks game for the rest of my life. So I probably won't ever see what he does.
We'll see. We'll see about that. We'll see. You can't be mad forever. You can just hate the Mavs.
No, they could go 81-1 and I'll still hate them.
They just got to fire Nico. Just fire Nico and things will turn out better. Everyone will be happy again. When you get rid of Nico and you get rid of the people who did this horrible thing. Speaking of people we need, the people that are getting away from, we also saw in the NBA today arrest, which it struck me as a bit off. Like, I don't like the fact that they waited to do this or whatever to do this right at the beginning of the NBA season. Like, I don't like when federal programs try and make a big splash. Like, I'm like, dude, you should just do your job instead of being like, aren't we great for arresting a coach after the first couple days of NBA season? Like, make the NBA deal before the season. Why are you trying to ruin shit? I don't get it. But I believe fully 100% this was a political move to try and get some big names in. We saw them already do the Gilbert Arenas one, which was similar to this. That he was allowing illegal poker games, that they're basically cheating in the illegal poker games. That's what's happening with Chauncey Billup. Is there's two sides. There's one where there's these illegal poker games where they're basically rigged with x-ray tables, mark cards, all these different things to basically get these guys to come in and play poker with, at an NBA player's house or with other NBA players or whoever. And they're like, oh, this is great. And then they get screwed and they lose all their money. There's that, and then there's also handing insider information out that they're trying to come after you doing that. Which, by the way, the reason they do that is politically, and it's because the gambling sites too, who are funding them to go and shut all this down. Because the gambling sites don't want the mafia. The gambling sites don't. They're legal, so they want to shut down the illegal side of it.
I really don't know anything about this. This is the first time hearing about it.
Chauncey Billup, the head coach of the Trailblazers, got arrested this morning. Terry Rozier got arrested this morning, as well as Damon Jones was the other big piece, but several other people.
Okay. Well, I mean, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? You shouldn't be playing in illegal poker games or handing out inside information, or you deserve to go to jail. I do agree that waiting until the opening day of the NBA season is ridiculous.
That's what I agree.
You should have done this as soon as you got the whatever you needed, like the warrant or whatever, to go arrest them instead of waiting until today. It's stupid. It's grandstanding. And it's just a bad look for the NBA overall when it's supposed to be a good time for the NBA with the season starting.
Yeah. And by the way, I'll say this. I think gambling should be legal. I think prostitution should be legal. I think all drugs should be legal. I don't really care about people not being able to handle themselves. I'm fully on board for just legalize everything and who dies. I'm not that kind of bleeding heart person. Pretty liberal in that sense. But at the same part, I do believe you should be able to, like, I agree that you can't cheat at these games. And the more you try to make them above board, that maybe that I just don't care about. I like especially gambling. Like everyone I know has gambled my entire life, whether it was legal or not. I've known way too many people who have done it. The more you make it illegal, the more it is rigged, the more that it's bad things happen, the more that people get, beat up or whatever for owing bookies money. It's just way worse when it's illegal. And you can try and shut it down, but you never will. It just is what it is.
Yeah, gambling is like drugs. It's no matter how hard you try to put a clamp on it, it's always going to be there. People are always going to find a way to do it, whether it's online or using a VPN to go overseas online or an illegal poker game in somebody's house. Somebody's always going to figure out a way to do it. I want to go back to one of these questions. Joe, would Nico have traded Luka if Cuban was still the owner? The answer is a resounding no. Even Cuban would not be that stupid.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's look, I've tried gambling before. I went to Vegas with my dad and my brother for my 21st birthday, and I went all the time, and I really enjoyed it. I had that one really bad beat when I was online sports gambling where I got 24 of 25 on a parlay right, and Ole Miss was the one that lost it for me. Ever since then, I've kind of stayed away from it. I like discussing the odds, and I like doing our picks based against the spread, but I'm done putting money on it because, I mean, Vegas makes a F ton of money because they screw a lot of people out of money because they're smarter than you. So it's rigged against you from the beginning. And that's why nobody should do it. If they do it, that's their deal.
The reality is gambling is fine in moderation. Most things are fine in moderation. I'm a big fat guy because I can't handle food. Yet we don't say we need to outlaw Applebee's. That's not part of it. But the fact that they show their commercial and then I think, boy, I would love to eat some crap right now is definitely part of it. I get it. I'm just saying at the end of the day, you should be able to, in moderation, do whatever you want. It's a problem that companies want to exploit you and do whatever to take all of your money, and they're fine leaving you homeless in a ditch. That's like a moral problem of them and the people who run those companies. But I like anything in life that's so good that people ruin their life for it. I'm not against outlawing it. It's just so good. Like those are the fun things in life. And they just gotta be like, well, some people couldn't manage their moderation, and they don't get to be. We don't get to just make them even with everyone else because they had a fault. I'm pretty callous in that sense, but I do care about my friends. If my friend had a problem with it or whatever, I would step in to stop them. Like you should with your friends if they have a serious gambling problem, or if you do, you should get checked out. You should get some help. And but I think that, yeah, the bigger issue is the illegal gambling games where they are literally cheating and you cannot win. It's just you. There's no way you can win is rough. But yeah, I'll bet every once in a while. I'll put $25 or something in a betting account and bet $5 bets, and it's still fun for me. And I don't have to have that other part of it, of the stress. And some people need that stressful part of it. But they got arrested today. Also, Matt, did you see today the SEC has suspended a ref indefinitely?
They have.
They have suspended a ref indefinitely now. This was a ref that was in the Auburn-Georgia game where they felt there was several missed calls. I believe they said out of 10 sent to them, 9 were he got the wrong call. So they have now suspended him and basically like, dude, I don't know if you were just having a really off day or an off couple days or what, but you're gone. And so whether he may be involved in something down the line or not, we'll see. But it was weird to see this morning, Matt, that they got rid of a ref too.
Do we know what games he was involved in?
So the one they said most recently was Auburn and Georgia. And that he made a ton of pro-Georgia like a ton of calls against Auburn.
Huh, interesting. I wonder if he was I wonder if he was involved in the Auburn-Oklahoma game.
I don't know. Because if he was, then that guy. Yeah, it's the Kirby timeout game. Was the game he did it in.
Well, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to find out what refs were doing. We're at the Georgia Auburn game and what refs were at the Auburn.
They said which
game.
one it is. If I can pull up the article real quick. If my internet works, we'll pull up that article real quick. And Ken Williamson is the name. Ken Williamson is permanently suspended after controversial calls in the Auburn and Georgia game.
Kurt Williamson.
Ken Williamson.
Ken Williamson. Okay. Well, that's wild. How look, referees, there always seems to be something like this happening, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like dating all the way back to who's the NBA guy? Tim Donaghy, yeah. Yeah, and that was crazy. I watched a documentary on that thing, and that was wild.
It depends which documentary you watch, because there's one he did, and then there's one that's more it's more honest.
I didn't watch the one he did. I watched the objective one. But it's crazy to me, like how these guys can get paid, and they get paid a lot of money. Like they don't get paid millions or anything like that, but they get paid a couple $100,000 to work for 6 months, and then they do stuff like that. Like,
well,
that's
again, we go into living within your means and moderation, which is certain people, when they get some money, will still spend more money than they have. So they're spending more money, and then they spend more money because they're like, well, I'll make. And then if you're a ref, you're not ever really gonna like advance to making buku's more money. So then you're like, well, now I'm in debt, and I bought 4 cars. And I bought 2 houses, and I got to keep them all. So now I got to find some extra money. And then they go do really stupid stuff. And if we live within your means, you can be just fine and not have to do illicit activities. But certain people are always going to look for the way out. Certain people cannot moderate in different senses, whether it is gambling, whether it is drinking, whether it is eating, whether it is spending money. Moderation is one of the hardest things to be a human being.
It definitely is. I can vouch for that. You can see my bourbon collection, how much moderation I've enjoyed over my lifetime.
Yeah. No, and that's, and especially when we're all young, none of us care about moderation at all. That's always the other hard part. You don't get it until you get a little bit older, but interesting news stories have come out. I was happy about the Spurs, and then they arrested some guys this morning. They suspended a ref indefinitely or permanently, they said. So not indefinitely, permanently suspended him, which I don't know how you permanently suspend somebody. It feels like that's a firing to me, but
that would indicate a firing, in my
I
opinion.
think it's a weird, different way. Maybe they're like, well, we have to legally go through this process or else you can sue us. So we're trying to figure all that out right now. I don't know. Joe, you should buy a Bentley jewelry in a mansion. Clearly. That's the better. So we will see what comes out of all that. But Matt, getting into the big Texas game this weekend against Mississippi State. We do have some Sark audio we'll get to. We will get to talking a little bit more about this defense and how Texas can try and attack them or how they need to attack them, what they need to try and get done. We'll also get into some SEC power rankings in an hour or two. Bama Bruce is coming back on the show to give us some of his insights into the rest of the SEC a little bit later in the show. But let's get into the injury report that came out, or the availability report, I should say, that came out for Texas. We got some good news, some, not unexpected news. In the outs are Aaron Butler and Michael Taff. Nothing unexpected there. We knew Michael Taff and Aaron Butler out. Also, Cole Hudson on that list. Still not hugely surprising that we said we're not quite sure what that injury is, but we do know that it probably would take a few weeks to get better from.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because Connor Robertson really struggled against Kentucky. Yes. Hopefully that experience will help him heading into this week because he was a big issue last week. Regardless of the getting just physically beaten at the line, he was also struggling with helping to call out protections and get his guys lined up, against the proper guys. And so that's unfortunate. And as much as Cole Hudson has struggled, it's hard to imagine that he would have performed more poorly than Connor Robertson did in that game. So we'll see what happens there. The best way to get better is more reps. So hopefully after a week of reps, he gets better. I really don't know what else to say about this offensive line other than God help us. They've shown that they can mask the deficiencies. The problem is it's very hard to mask the deficiencies when you've got a backup in and at the most important position on the offensive line and a true freshman in at the spot next to him. So that's going to make it really difficult.
And I mean, we could even say the right tackle's technically a backup. I know he's been our starter all season, but he was not supposed to be. So there's just a lot of positions that are not in those places. The good news was, though, on the probable list, we did see CJ Baxter finally listed as a probable on a Wednesday. We had not seen that. He constantly was on the doubtful into the out list. So it's good to see him on there. Phil Simay is also probable, and Cunningham is probable. But we get Connor Stroh is off that list completely now. So that was the other name to get to at least a little bit more depth in that room. That I know Connor Stroh has struggled as well, but you just need to have people at a certain point. So it's good to see him back. But the big news is that CJ Baxter coming back. Looks like he will be coming back this week. We'll play some Sark audio. It feels like this is the week he comes back, though.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into what Sark said, obviously, but all signs indicate that he will be back this week, which is going to be extremely helpful. As I talked about yesterday, he has the most physical gifts of any of the running backs in this room. He's the most difficult to bring down. He can run through tackles, which has been an issue for the majority of these running backs so far. Even Trey Wisner, who runs extremely hard, he's not going to be able to run through tackles the same way that a 230-pound CJ Baxter would. So it should help to improve the running game regardless of what the offensive line does, at least to a certain extent. So that is certainly a positive. And I do want to caution, like I said yesterday, it is, while it is going to help, it is not going to fix this offense. So I get that when you get a star caliber player back, many people tend to believe like, oh, we're good now. We got our power back. It's not going to be that simple, but it is certainly going to help.
It is. Here's Sark today speaking to the media about CJ Baxter. And he was basically asked, CJ Baxter, this is why we have more hope he will play, about how he's doing and if he would be on a snap count or any type of restrictions in this game, which is a backwards way of asking if he's playing, by the way. Solid. I think Said Golden asked this. It's a solid backwards way of asking. Instead of saying, so is CJ Baxter going to play this week? You go, is he on a pitch count? See, that's solid backward way to ask that question. But here's what Sark had to say.
Yeah, I thought he's looked good in practice, and I thought he's gotten better and stronger as the week's gone on. You know, the soft tissue injuries, are, to your point, are tricky because the player coming off of them, they're trying to figure out, can they really push it, right? And so, and I credit our medical staff and the rehab process, because we pushed him really good over the last week and a half before this week. And to get him his confidence right to where he felt like he could go. And I felt like from Monday, Tuesday to Wednesday to today, his comfort level of pushing that to a degree to where he felt comfortable that he could really play at a high level, which was important. You know, we're obviously fortunate to have Trey to combo with Cedric. And then, like I said, Christian Clark's really been coming on. And so, again, I don't envision C4 walking out of there with 20-something carries, okay? But if he can play in this game and be effective and be an integral part in some critical situations on regular downs, but especially in some special situations, I think that would be really beneficial for our team. I think it would be beneficial for Trey to take some of the load off of him and keep him fresh for 4 quarters. But also from a leadership standpoint, you know, Cedric is a great leader, and the guys really respond to him. And so the fact that he gets to put his uniform on this Saturday and play with those guys, I think is going to mean a lot to him, that he's not going to be in street clothes on the sidelines.
So there was Sark today, asked about CJ Baxter and what his impact would be and his recovery and pitch count. Kind of, it goes around. It feels like he is going to play from that statement. Feels like he is leaning towards being in there, being able to be used in some different situations. But I like at the end of that too. He brings up his leadership and he brings up what he means to the offense. And remember when we heard at the beginning of the season, many people were saying CJ Baxter is like a second quarterback on the field. That he is someone who really understands this offense and is someone that can help out possibly with Arch a little bit and being able to walk back in a huddle or being able to walk back and helping them in those moments, break things down a little bit closer, tell them to watch out for that guy or know where the block is coming from. Those things, I mean, you can't do a ton from a running back position in the moment, but I think it could have a positive impact on this team in that sense, even though I can't imagine he would play a huge amount of snaps. I still imagine you're probably trying to share between him and Trey Wisner, and those two guys are both really good leaders on the field.
Yeah, I mean, let's say you run 60 to 65 offensive plays. I imagine CJ Baxter would probably be in for about a third of that. And that's not even to say he's going to get the ball on all of those opportunities, but he's going to be extremely important in some factors that Texas has been lacking that aren't even, part of the actual running game, like pass protection. I don't think that there's going to be a better running back for pass protection than on this football team than CJ Baxter, because number one, he's big and he can body up with a linebacker and knock them off the spot instead of hanging on for dear life like Trey Wisner has been trying to do. He can chip a defensive lineman a lot more effectively with that extra 20 pounds or so or 30 pounds or so that he's got on his frame. But he also understands the intricacies of pass blocking and who he's supposed to pick up at the right times. And if a guy's coming, if there's two guys coming on a blitz and there's a guy screaming up the middle and a guy coming around the outside, he automatically knows in his brain, I take the inside most defender and to help protect my quarterback. Like, those are things that younger players like Christian Clark and James Simon just probably don't understand at this point in their career, and that's fine. But it's gonna play a big, and he's right. Like, having him on the field is, I think, going to galvanize this team a little bit. Like, hell yeah, we got CJ back. We believe in CJ, and he's going to be in the huddle, calming guys down. And if Arch takes a big hit, CJ is going to run onto the field the next play, hit him on the back of the helmet, and be like, "We got this, man. I'm here. Don't worry about it. I got you." And that stuff's a lot more important than people realize. So my hope is that he gets 10 to 12 carries and he's in on 15 to 20 plays. And then you see how he is in the fourth quarter. And then if he can carry a little bit of a load in the fourth quarter when you're trying to protect a lead, that's your best opportunity to keep the clock moving and keep the ball moving forward.
Yeah, I'm with you. Roy, I don't think Brock Cunningham has any more eligibility. Last I saw, he was playing basketball in Belgium. I believe last I saw for Brock Cunningham, but I don't know much more. But Matt, you speak about that, about the blocking for CJ Baxter as well, that he is better in pass pro than anyone else Texas has. Sark was asked about that, about CJ Baxter's pass blocking, and as well as what the offensive line has been working on this week to try and get this team a little bit more ready than they looked last week, where they looked not ready at all.
Yeah, I think C4, obviously, he's got he's a very smart player. He's very cerebral, but he's also very calming. I think he's actually calming for Trey Wisner as well. Just he sees the game, he understands the protections, he can talk through things. And so whether it's he or Trey, I think there's a calming effect that he provides. I think for the offensive line is trust. And not riding the emotional, human nature is I had one good play. Okay. I'm going to have another good play, another good play, another good play. Football doesn't always work like that. We're going to make some mistakes. We'd all love to play a perfect game. You're going to make a mistake. Well, that doesn't mean you have to make another mistake. And so the ability to move on to the next play, be clear-minded, focus on the task at hand, I think is something for the offensive line. But I think, too, we got to get movement at the line of scrimmage and the run game. I think those two things go hand in hand for us in particular. We got to have the ability to run the ball. We got to move people at the line of scrimmage. We got to create running lanes. That allows us to utilize some of the play-action pass because now, the D linemen aren't pinning their ears back. The linebackers aren't blitzing quite as hard because they know they got to fit their runs. And then we need to make people pay when they do that. When we're getting some of these safety blitzes and things, we got to block them up, and then we need to make them pay with some explosive plays down the field.
And that sentiment is something that Matt and I talked about a little bit with Arch. I think it's in there too. I love that Sark is at the positivity. When you have one good play and you think the next play is going to be good, Sark, we're not worried about the good plays. Would be love if that was the case. We're worried that the bad plays are stacking and that they're missing blocks and they're going and they're getting in their own head that they're picking the wrong guy, which means if they pick nobody and guys just get right past them. That's more the issue, but he is talking about that consistency in the game. And I get that that's kind of what you're working on is, guys, you have to move on, because I think that is something they're drilling into their heads into. We know you're going to miss plays. We know you guys are going to get beat because sometimes they run a really great a great call on defense and they disguise it perfectly and the blitz works. But then you let them beat you on the next 4 plays because of that. And that's what we're hating, is because you know how to, you block that same play right 3 times. And then once they get a sack, you misblock that now 3 times in a row. Why are you misblocking the things that you clearly know how to do? Or, they get a pressure when they bring 6 guys and then they bring 3 and get pressure. That's because you're worried because they brought 6 on the last one. And so instead of just stopping 3 guys, which you can easily do, you are now getting 2 in your head about it. And so that piece of it, I know you guys aren't good enough to stop everybody, but can we try and move forward that if you have a bad play and it is first and 10, second and 6, third and 12, you don't just let the guys through again because you're so mad that you put us in a bad third down.
Yeah, and that's where a guy like CJ Baxter really comes in handy.
Yeah.
I thought that, Ohio State's, I think, a really good example of this because CJ Baxter was in the game. There were a lot of bad things that happened during that game, especially in the first half. And in the second half, especially I felt when CJ Baxter was on the field, that offense performed a lot better. And it never really seemed like there was a point in that game outside of Arch, who was making the first, start on the road in his college career at the hardest place to play in the country outside of Death Valley. you could tell that there wasn't panic on that offense.
Yeah.
There wasn't panic along the offensive line. Everybody was just kind of like, yeah, we got this. We just got to hit a couple plays. And I think CJ Baxter plays a really big role in that, not only because of his ability to run the football consistently and fall forward and be kind of a punishing guy, but also just because, like, I mean, go watch CJ Baxter do an interview. He's just this cool, calm, collected dude, real well spoken, real confident. He knows what's going on. And, you know, it's an intangible asset that they haven't really had since the first play of the UTEP game. And I'm willing to bet that, you know, maybe the UTEP game still wouldn't have been as pretty. It might have still been a rough slog, but it wouldn't have been as a rough slog if CJ Baxter was in that game, because I think he'd be running the football a lot better. I think that he'd be able to come, you know, like I said, knock Arch on the back of the helmet and be like, you got this, bro. Don't worry about that pass. And Arch would be like, yeah, man, you're right. You're right. And there was nobody on the field at that point that could tell him to do that. No. DeAndre Moore was kind of the only guy, but like Trey Wisner wasn't out there, CJ wasn't out there. So those are really important factors that I think not a lot of people are paying attention to.
No, and we did see on the chat there, people talking about this Arch did play in this game last year. So is there any residual confidence because Arch played in this game last year? Sark was asked that today about the difference between last year's game and this year's game and anything you can draw off it. Here's what Sark's response was.
We had a lot of different faces last year as opposed to this year. You know, there was this different. This is a different group just in general. You know, a lot of, like I said, a lot of new faces. You know, I think for them, they've evolved as a defense too. You know, from where they were a year ago, they're a much deeper defense. They're playing a lot of players, especially in the front. They've evolved schematically. They're not, you know, playing the same exact style. They have some principles that remain the same from a year ago, but they've evolved. They're playing a lot more confidently, especially in the back end. You know, their ability to attack the football on Mississippi State definitely jumps off the tape. They create interceptions. They attack the ball. And so from our end, I think, you know, one of the things that stood out, I thought, you know, the protection for Arch was really the guys did a great job a year ago. We ran the ball effectively and we're able to utilize the passing game off of those two things. But I also think Arch made a couple critical plays. I mean, there's a throw. We're in empty formation. They zero blitz him and he throws an absolute strike to DeAndre Moore. And so you can lean into some of those connections from last year where he hits DeAndre on that. He hits DeAndre on another touchdown earlier in the game or later in the game. So there's some things to lean into. There's some looks that we can hold on to from a year ago, but then there's some newness, right? We have new faces. We have new people up front. And there's some newness to some of the schemes and the personnel that they have on defense, especially on the front.
So there was Sark today when you asked about comparing the differences and similarities, if you can draw anything from the game last year. And I think maybe you can draw a little bit of confidence, maybe a little bit of it, but this is a different Mississippi State team. It's a much better defense for Mississippi State. And this offense is wildly different than the offense for last year, where Arch only had to come in and fit into an offense. It wasn't Arch's offense. It wasn't his team to push. Everyone else knew how to take over that role. That offensive line was super experienced and knew how to take care of him. The wide receivers knew to take care of Arch. So I think DeAndre Moore can maybe grab a couple more things out of it. But as for Arch, I don't know how much, because he's going to be it's going to look completely different. It's going to feel completely different. So I don't think that there's too much you can pull off, because both teams are pretty different. And the offense for the Longhorns is remarkably different than last year's.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a believer in, well, we beat them last year, so we've got some confidence going into this. Unless it's like Georgia with Alabama, where they've or Alabama with Georgia, rather, where they've beaten them like 10 out of the last 11 times. I don't put any stock in that kind of stuff. Because it is, especially in today's college football, like completely different rosters a lot of the time, different players leaving, different players getting starts. I mean, hell, Mississippi State is going to have an experienced quarterback under center for this football game, which they had a true freshman last year, Michael Van Buren, who just was completely overwhelmed in a really tough situation. They've also got 3 former Longhorns on their roster now. with Brendan Thompson and Darian Gillette and Jere Bledsoe, that probably gives them a little confidence because Darian Gillette and Jere Bledsoe specifically can walk in and be like, hey, we know some of the things that they like to do on defense. So, we can help you out a little bit. And they're going to have their home crowd behind them, and they're going to have the cowbells clang-a-lang-a-langing. And, it's going to be an intimidating environment to a certain extent. It's not going to be Death Valley. But you can, like, at the beginning of that football game, you're going to walk in there, and if Texas starts off on offense, you're going to hear those cowbells ringing, and Arch is going to be like, what the is going on in here? Because I don't think he's ever been to Starkville to my knowledge. So it's going to be weird. And I'm glad it's not a night game. I'll say that.
Yep.
But, it's basing anything off of last year's game, I think would be foolhardy because it doesn't matter.
So Sark was also asked about the cowbells. He was asked about how do you practice for that?
Oh, yay.
And do you do it? I know Matt loves the cowbells. So here's what Sark had to say about practicing with the noise for the cowbells and what it is and how much he loves the cowbells.
First of all, I think it's an awesome atmosphere. In the SEC, I think that's one of the coolest things about this league is you go on the road and everybody's got their own niche, right? Everybody's got their own thing that is unique to their home game environment. And for Mississippi State to have the cowbells, I think that is a really cool thing for college football and that our guys get to experience, quite frankly. Hopefully we can have a little less cowbell ringing going on Saturday, but we do pipe it in. We've got cowbells ringing at practice. And again, you've got to, it tasks you to stay focused. To me, I think that's more so than it's just the overbearing noise. It's the focus of hearing those bells ring. And so, we think we've addressed it. We've done a good job this week of handling it, from a pre-snap perspective. But staying focused is one of the key ingredients to this.
So there's Sark sharing his immense love for the cowbells and what they stand for. And I know Matt is a huge, huge fan of the cowbells as well. But Sark does have the point. They do pipe in the noise. It is a unique environment that you're walking into. The same as doing a night game in Kentucky is a different environment than what you're used to walking into. All of these different places, the first time you're starting to go there. And this is going to be interesting for a lot of teams for the SEC over the next few years, because now, with everybody changing so often and everything else, you're not going to have the same places you go to multiple times. Basically, the Cotton Bowl and DKR, the Cotton Bowl, DKR, maybe Kyle Field and maybe Fayette Nam are the places that you'll actually know. But most people are only playing 2 years, maybe 3 years. You're not going to be able to go. And since you're rotating over a 4-year span now, the odds of you playing in the same place twice is going to be very little in your college career. So it's going to be interesting as a lot of guys have to deal with this. But for a young quarterback who has been having his struggles, who is probably the most scrutinized player in possibly the history of college football, at least for a starter, at least for a guy who's starting his first year for Arch Manning, it's a lot to get used to when you're trying to keep calm and trying to just move on from the last play.
I just I don't think people understand how squirrely this environment can get. And I think that Texas has not experienced anything like this necessarily before, despite playing at Kyle Field or, anywhere else that they've played so far in the SEC, which hasn't meant a whole lot yet. I mean, they went to Vanderbilt, they went to Fayetteville, they went to, they've been to Kentucky, they've been to Florida. All those places have their difficulties. But this is when you talk about drunk environments, and I don't mean the fans being drunk, I just mean the environment and the energy being drunk and weird. That's something that they're not going to experience. It's completely different than Oklahoma State too. It's unlike anything that I've ever seen before. And it can cause a lot of issues. And it's because in part due to the cowbells, because, it's it's something that they're supposed to do at a certain time of the game and leading up to certain points, and they just do it throughout the entire game, and they break the rules, and nobody ever does anything about it because they consider it a tradition and it's grandfathered in or whatever the hell they want to call it, but it's still bullshit. That's only part of it. Like it gets to a point where it almost feels like you're in an alien environment, and that's something that's going to be an issue unless Texas comes out and they hit him in the mouth early and take the fans out of the game, which they haven't really proven they can do at any point this season. I do think that it's something that especially becomes an issue because of like what Patrick pointed out. You're not really spending a whole lot of time going to these other stadiums all like consistently. Like next year you're going to Death Valley or whatever, and this year you're going to Georgia, and then you're not going to play again in Georgia for a few years, and then you're going to go to Tennessee, and you're like, all these guys are going to play one or two times at a few places, and then they're going to move on. So there's not really any sort of advantage that you can cultivate by playing a team in the SEC outside of Texas A&M in Arkansas that's going to last you for a long time. So they need to be extremely careful and tread lightly, because I promise you this place can get weirder than anything you've ever seen.
Yeah, you don't want to go to overtime again. Let's go with that. No. But part of what you want to do is that they've tried to keep doing is start the game a little bit faster, trying to get going. And Sark was asked about the opening script and why the opening script hasn't necessarily gone the way he wanted. He has an interesting analogy. I will call it interesting analogy for what he says about the opening script and why they maybe have not been as effective as he would have wanted.
You know, remember when you guys used to go to your grandma's house at Christmas, okay? And the Christmas tree would light up, you'd plug it in, grandma would say, plug it in, and it would look beautiful. And there'd be that one light that was blinking, the one light that was out, and you're like, you can't get your eyes off that one blinking light. I feel like that's been the issue. And then you replace the bulb and you fix it, and then the next light starts blinking. I wish I could say it's one thing or one group or one player, which isn't the case. I feel like it's kind of we just haven't gotten all 11 to execute it all exactly the way we want it. And part of those blinking lights, I'll say, is me too. Like I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. But I just want to plug in this Christmas tree Saturday at 3:15 and all the lights come on and none of them are blinking. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take execution from all 11. It's going to take us as coaches making sure that we're calling things at the timely fashion to put those guys in the best position to be successful.
There was Sark today dropping a somewhat odd analogy. It's not even November yet, man. You can't slip Christmas thing. It's like when you plug in your Halloween decorations, Sark. Come on. We gotta get in the right season, Sark. But he brings up that it just seems to be one thing after another, is basically what he's saying. Is you're doing stuff and then one thing goes wrong and it breaks everything off. And this is him saying that really trying to not throw anybody under the bus more than anything else, but going, certain people are not carrying their weight consistently in the beginning, and it's causing everything to fall off. I do agree with this statement. Sometimes it's him, that he is trying to set things up for later in the game. And he'd rather take a play that may or may not work, but it will set something up for later, and he'd rather call that play still than just try and get going. And it's that part of Sark where he thinks he's always thinking as the chess master down the line, but if he doesn't pay attention, it's football, not chess. And so sometimes you do just have to come out and punch him in the mouth early, and it doesn't feel like he does that enough. And part of that is, if you call a great play and Arch misses a pass, or you call a play and the protection just completely breaks down because they called the right defense for it. Those types of things can happen, but it feels like it's always something. And they're going to have to try and figure that out a little bit better, because you cannot, especially on the road, 4 straight home game, start off slow. You have to start figuring this stuff out a little bit quicker.
I've got a little bit of a better analogy, I think.
Okay.
I like the Christmas tree analogy in a vacuum. I think that's a good analogy for assembling multiple things and hoping that it looks the way that you want it to look. So we're going to stick with the Christmas tree. Sark is the Christmas tree decorator in this analogy. He goes to Home Depot, he gets his big Christmas tree, he hangs all the lights and the beautiful decorations and the ornaments, and he puts the star on top, and everything looks fantastic. And he's sitting back and he's going, man, that looks awesome. I have the best Christmas tree I could possibly have right now. And then out of nowhere, your cat comes screaming out from under the bed. It jumps into the tree, rips all the lights off, knocks it over, all the ornaments break, and you have to try and get it all back up together before your guests show up. That's really what's happening, is he's creating these game plans that are sound and good in a vacuum. But there's a wrench that gets thrown into it very early in the football game, and everything else falls apart because of it. And a lot of that has been the offensive line against Florida and Kentucky. And some of that has been Arch missing throws against UTEP and Kentucky. And some of it is, other parts of his game plan falling apart because that, it's a very complicated situation, which is, again, why I always go back to the, people saying Sark should give up play calling and all this other stuff. Like that doesn't fix it. Like the design of the tree and the decision of the ornaments that go onto the tree aren't the problem. It's the external factors that are creating the chaos after the tree has already been assembled and destroying it.
Yeah, and what's funny is the opening script wise, I think Sark does a pretty good job of responding out of the opening script. I think he's done that well in a lot of games, where the opening script maybe doesn't work right, and there's some play calls that you're like, why would you do that? Like again, the double reverse flea flicker. That's in the script. He thinks that's going to work. And at a point, you should probably even just rip up the script at that point and go, dude, we are not good enough to pull this pass off right now. The way they're playing defense, all this, we probably shouldn't call this play right now because it just is not. I don't feel like this is going to break it open. But that's in the script. And so he thinks that that's going to do it, and maybe that'll to set up some other things or another end around or something a little bit later in the game that Texas was never able to get to. But it feels like after that, he starts to dial it up a little bit more, and he starts to call it up where he had plays where guys were open and maybe Texas missed on him, but the play calling seemed better. So it is funny because your analogy still works, is he's pretty decent of once the cat jumps in the tree, putting it back up. But every week it feels like he's like, well, the cat's not going to jump in the tree today. No. No. Sorry. Mississippi State doesn't even have a cat. Oh my God, they have a cat. And every single
two cats.
And every single week it's that again. And he just gets shocked that there's this game plan to shut down his script early in the game. And that's what it feels like every single week. And so I think there's some positives to it, but I think if you're Sark, that script needs to be getting shorter and shorter because it's not one of your strengths at this moment.
Yeah. And just to finish off my analogy, going into Starkville is, or as they call it, Stark Vegas, where I went to school. That is like, if you're Texas, that is like a really cool, suave finance bro walking into a house for a Christmas dinner, and that house that he's walking into for Christmas dinner is a crazy cat lady's house, and there's cats all over the place. So anything could go wrong at any moment. And
yeah,
I promise I'm done with my cat analogies.
Yeah, no, but I think that's what it is. It's just every week he's just like, dude, how do these cats keep getting in the house? Every week now. You're like, man, just understand the cat's going to be there, Sark. The cat's going to be there. I'll play one more clip for you before we take our first break. Sark was asked this, and this is somewhat of an interesting question, but I don't think that there's really a question about it too much. But Sark was asked about judging playing time and giving guys room to grow and trying to basically use things as teachable moments or really just trying to play football to win. So maybe setting some things up for the future trying to get your offensive line so that next year they be better or later in this season be better versus just winning football games, no matter what you have to do, trying to do that. Here's what Sark had to say about kind of judging, building the growing of your team along with the urgency to win every single week.
Yeah, no, I think the first thing we try to do is coach them really good in practice, right? And whether that's in spring ball, training camp, in season, we never stop coaching. We never stop trying to develop. And nobody's a finished product. And so, but also letting them see living examples of other players who maybe had the growing pains that were in the same stage that they were maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. All right, well, here I am now. But I think part of it is, a lot of the players we sign are high-level players. But they signed here as high-level players because they also knew we've been producing high-level players and we've been winning at a high level. And it's something, hey, I want to go there. I want to compete for championships. I want to, whether it's SEC or national championships, but I also want an opportunity, maybe fulfill my dreams of playing in the NFL. I'm not a finished product. I've got work to do. Understandably, there's going to be frustrations along the way of whether it's playing time, whether it's learning a system or a certain play or a scheme. But yet, man, that guy who's maybe 2 years ahead of me, he's got it figured out. What is he doing? How do I be more like him, right? Am I one of the first guys in the building, or am I coming in right before the team meeting's about to start? Am I staying late after practice to work on something, or am I running out of there because I got somewhere to go, right? Am I coming in extra meeting with my position coach, or am I never around upstairs in our building? But wait, that guy who's an All-American or an All-Conference player, that's what he does. So maybe we need to be more like him. And so we try to use living examples of guys in our team, but we never stop developing. We never stop pushing. We never stop coaching. It doesn't matter if a guy's a frontline starter or a developmental player, a scout team player. We're coaching these guys constantly. And the beauty of it for us is we're seeing a lot of growth in a lot of players. And maybe we aren't going to reap the benefits of that right now, but surely down the road we will, because a lot of our guys are improving.
So there was Sark in trying to continue to coach, continue to improve players, where you also are trying to win right then. And it's an interesting question because I feel like this question was meant more of how are your guys not ready this season? Mm-hmm. Because at this point, it doesn't feel like Sark is holding back a whole lot to not win. I think Sark is trying to win games. Now, maybe you could say he isn't, changing his system a lot because he would like to still have the system. So he's not trying to really go to a super simplified, let's get the ball out in under 2 seconds and just doesn't matter. We just got to try and move the football kind of way, which you may have to go to more of as the season goes on. But I think this is more a statement of, well, clearly the guys behind the guys were not ready. So how are you trying to make sure that the guys that are behind the guys right now that you're trying to get ready are going to be ready? Because we're just going to keep having this problem over and over again. If no one ever can get ready without playing time, how do you keep fixing that? And there is no great answer. If anybody who figures that out perfectly, let me know and let every other coach know, and then they'll be able to use it. I think that's more of why the transfer portal is so popular, is because you understand we've tried to get a guy, as Sark said, to care enough to understand that it's on him, not us, to develop him. He needs to be able to develop himself. And if the guy doesn't, I got to go hit the transfer portal. The problem was he misjudged that O-line. Every other position feels like there's enough there to get it done. He just misjudged that O-line, that they were going to be fine after next season. And that was not the case.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to go from an offense that puts 10 people in the NFL, basically.
Yes.
And 4 along the offensive line, to turn around and have the exact same leadership and production and veteran qualities and a bunch of guys who haven't played a lot of football so far. And that's totally understandable. It's not an indictment on Sark that like having 10 new starters on offense led to an off year offensively. it's an important learning opportunity for all of these players, and it will continue to be an important learning opportunity for all these players, especially if they figure it out. Like if they go over the next, I don't anticipate them going 10-2, but if they in the next few weeks, win a game they're not supposed to win, like against Georgia or Texas A&M, and they win the rest of their games, outside of one of those two, and they go 9-3, like that's going to be a huge learning opportunity and confidence builder for this football team for having the start that they've had, to being like, okay, we've got something here. We need to continue to do things this way, and we're going to be just fine. And having another year under the belt for Trevor Gooseby and Nick Brooks and Brandon Baker and all these other guys is going to be massive.
Yeah.
It's just like I said at the beginning of the year, like after they lost to Ohio State, it's like maybe even though everybody was talking about how this was the year that Steve Sarkisian finally had everything that he wanted and he was really going to hit the ground running and his roster was exactly what he wanted, maybe that's next year. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I get everybody wants to finish the season 10-2 and go to the CFP and do all those things. And that's still a possibility.
It still is.
Nobody's saying that's not a possibility, but there's other things that can be taken positively away from this season, even if that doesn't happen. And it's very difficult to go 12 or 11-1 every single regular season for your entire football career. And there's going to be down years. There's going to be years where you're better than you expect. I want to answer one of these questions real quick, Patrick.
Yeah.
From Joe. We may have a problem in Austin next year. Maybe we compete in the CFP, but Arch needs a proven QB coach after this season. AJ Milwee is a top 3 quarterback coach in college football. And if you move on from him to try to find somebody else, you're not going to find somebody better.
Yeah. The problem with that, Joe, is a quarterback coach. If you're proven, then you would have to hire them as offensive coordinator, which means you have to demote Kyle Flood, at least put him as a co-offensive coordinator or whatever else. You have to get rid of AJ Milwee. There's just a lot of pieces. And I get it. Arch's progression isn't where we wanted. There's zero chance his progression is lack of coaching. The guy has been coached by some of the greatest minds. He's been at the Manning Passing Academy over and over. He's done all of these things. He has been coached to death. He just hasn't played against good competition. He didn't play against good competition in high school, and it shows. It's going to take him a little bit more time to get used to being in that good competition around big crowds. But coaching, I don't think is necessarily the biggest problem with Arch, because he knows what he's doing wrong. I think it's that it's a more mental issue, and you can coach him all day long. He knows, don't stride like that. Don't stride like that. Guy's about to hit me in the backside. Slide up, move around. Okay, get the ball out. You got to get the ball out now. Overstrode. It's more that than I think just him not knowing.
Yeah, it's not a matter of what he's being taught or how he's being coached. It's for one thing, he's 7 starts into his first season as a college football starting quarterback, and there's going to be bumps and bruises. I showed you the numbers for Joe Burrow in his first season as a starter at LSU versus his second season as a starter. The best medicine for what's going wrong with Arch in these games where he's playing poorly is more reps.
Yep.
And more environments and more situations that he can learn from. It's not changing out the quarterback coach that was integral in bringing him to Austin in the first place. I'll tell you one thing. If you really want to piss off Arch in the Mannings, you'll get rid of AJ Milwee, because he was
one of the reasons.
If Sark was 1A in bringing Arch to Austin, AJ Milwee was 1A.2. Like, he was right there. He was huge in that acquisition, and they trust him and they believe in him, and they know that he is going to be the guy that he and Sark are going to be the guys that get him where he wants to go. It's really hard to be successful when you have no faith in your offensive line to protect you. So it's causing panic, and it's causing mistakes in your mechanics, and for you to overthink and all these different things. It's going to be fine. He's not going to be Garrett Gilbert or something like that. It's just We're 7 games in, everybody. Take a chill pill. It's fine.
Yeah. And by the way, for David as well, we're not doom and gloom, guys. We're more the optimistic side of this line of shows. But on the same side of that, it would be weird for us to get up and be like, guys, we're gonna win by 30 today. Dude, we have so much talent. We're gonna be good. That seems like a weird show too. So we're just being realistic. Both of us, I know what our picks are. I can tell you we both picked Texas again to win this weekend. So we're not doom and gloom on we can't beat Mississippi State, but I think we have to talk about what Texas needs to do to win that game. We will do more of that. We will get into our SEC power rankings. We will talk to my man Bama Bruce and a whole lot more in hour 2 of the show, but we got to hit our first break real quick. So with this 2.5 minutes, be back, get to our SEC power rankings for this week here on Open Gym.
Now, stepping up to the plate is a household name, weighing in at roughly 115 pounds with a wingspan of 98 inches. It's Samsung.
Kid, I know it's baseball season, but this isn't what I meant when I said to incorporate sports into the company commercial.
Sorry, old man. I just want everyone to know that audiovisual consultations can make your home feel like a stadium.
That's true. Audiovisual provides stadium surround sound, huge screen video, controlled lighting, and even temperature control. On our roster, every customer is an MVP.
Sounds like audiovisual knows how to score a home run with our customers.
All right, kid, that's enough with the baseball puns.
But I'm trying to tell everyone that audiovisual is a real catch. You'll love our services.
Kid?
There's nothing coming out of left field when you give us a call. We won't break your balls.
Kid, we only have a minute.
Pitch, please. I don't need your attitude right now.
Rest assured, listeners, audiovisual is much better at installing and designing custom home theaters than we are at making jokes.
Just check our stats. Give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit us online at avconsultations.com.
You see covert everywhere. That personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
BK here for OLIPOP. Man, this stuff is the game changer of all game changers. Their slogan is a new kind of soda, and that's exactly what it is. You get that same great soda taste, but OLIPOP is actually good for you. Inside of every can, a blend of 7 unique botanicals, plant fibers, and prebiotics. You're getting 9 grams of fiber in every can, only 2 to 5 grams of sugar, and man, the flavor is absolutely there. Classic soda flavors like cola, root beer, lemon lime, and Dr. Goodwin. That's their version of a Dr. Pepper, and some other great flavors as well. The grape, the cream soda, the cherry cola. It's all fantastic. I'm telling y'all, OLIPOP tastes just like the soda you grew up sipping, but with the added benefits of microbiome and digestive health support as well. Pick up OLIPOP at H-E-B, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, and Costco all throughout the Austin area and the state of Texas. And head over to drinkolipop.com. Use the promo code TEXAS20 for a discount on your first purchase. It's OLIPOP, a new kind of soda.
Welcome back into Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text line's open 512-222-9328, or, of course, on the chat here on Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. As we get into hour 2, we're about to hit these SEC power rankings. But before we, after we do that, we're going to do that first, and then after that, we will get to Bama Bruce Castleberry, talk some SEC football as well with him, and continue on until we wrap up the show this afternoon and get ready for some Thursday night football. So Matt, let's get into our SEC power rankings. See if I can pull up where we were. Oh, I don't think I have it on this computer, so give me 2 seconds when I try and go do things to make sure where we're at. And go ahead and download. Oh, no, I messed it up. And right, that, download that. And exhilarating radio to put up our rankings from last week. Here they are. our rankings from last week, Open Gym's power rankings from last week. Now we are trying to get into our week 9 power rankings, Matt. This is we saw over the weekend a good amount of some big level games for a bunch of these teams. We saw, maybe our number 2 team, just say your number 2 team may have gotten a loss this past weekend. Maybe have to move down a little bit. But let's start off. A&M, of course, with another big statement win that they were able to get, that they are playing good football right now and look really good with a 45-42 win over Arkansas. It was close at times, but it's another big win to keep them 7-0. We saw Ole Miss lose to Georgia 35-43 in a game where Georgia really put it on in that fourth quarter to go and get that win when they needed to. Alabama gets a 37-20 win over Tennessee, and that is your tier 1. We also see Tennessee losing, LSU losing to Vanderbilt, Texas winning, but in a close one to Kentucky, and Missouri beating Auburn 23-17. Also Oklahoma in tier 2. Getting a 26-7 win over South Carolina, but everyone in the SEC can beat South Carolina. Matt, what do you like at the top of your rankings right now? It's still A&M, right? They're still our number 1 team in the SEC power rankings.
Yeah, until they lose their number 1. They're the only undefeated team left in the conference, and they're still undefeated in conference play. They had a squirrely matchup. Arkansas was ready to go offensively. The score really wasn't as close as it didn't. It made it seem like the game was closer than it was. Texas A&M was up by 2 scores with 13 seconds to go.
Yeah.
So it was a garbage time touchdown. I still have Texas A&M number 1. And I still have Ole Miss number 2.
You cannot have Ole Miss number 2.
I'm kidding.
You cannot have it. Not giving it to you this week.
I think you move Alabama up to number 2.
I think you do too. Alabama with another big win. They have looked amazing since losing that early matchup to Florida State. They responded and handling business. 16-point lead at halftime against Tennessee and never let it go. So that one feels like they're the easy number 2. And they, again, are right there with Texas A&M. And it feels like you have to put Georgia ahead of Ole Miss right now because Georgia beat Ole Miss, right?
Yeah, I think it's Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is still a tier 1 team.
I do too.
I still think that they're capable of winning a national championship. I still think that they're capable of beating anybody in the conference. So you just kind of flip-flop that group around a little bit, put Ole Miss at 4, Alabama up to 2, Georgia at 3, and we're rocking and rolling into tier 2.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody in tier 2 as well that you would put remotely up in that level right now that you would say, oh, this team deserves from tier 2 to move up because LSU lost, Tennessee lost, Missouri beat Auburn, but that's not going to give me enough. Texas won, but it's Kentucky, and it was a close game, so you don't really want to see that one either. And then Oklahoma beat South Carolina. So how do we move around that tier 2? If we've got our tier 1, it's just kind of moving that around. Our tier 2. First of all, we can say Vanderbilt will move into tier 2 this week. Congratulations, Vanderbilt. They move into tier 2 for sure. They have definitely earned it on this one. And I don't know if we move anybody out of tier 2 into tier 3. I don't know if anybody did. I mean, LSU is starting to get on that level.
Because I still think that they're capable of beating a lot of people, so I'm not prepared to move them out of the tier quite yet.
Okay. So you're still on that LSU because I think that's probably your. So where do we start off our tier 2? Who do you like the most in tier 2 right now? Is it Missouri at the top spot of tier 2?
No, it's Vanderbilt. I think they rock. Yeah, they beat the crap out of LSU. They deserve some love. I think it's Vanderbilt at 5. And then it's Texas at 6, and it's Missouri at 7.
So wait, will you say that again?
Vanderbilt at 5, Texas at 6, Missouri at 7.
I might put Missouri. I mean, it's hard.
Look, I mean, they beat a really bad team. Texas beat a bad team. Like, I don't think that you can flip flop them based on that. Like, I don't think Auburn.
You know what? You know what I'm going to go with. We won in overtime. It took them 2. So
there you go.
Texas up because that was a double overtime game against Auburn. Even though Auburn, I'm sure, will tell you that it was a bad call. So then we'll go with Missouri there.
And I also have to dock Auburn some points this week because their coach came out and begged for a vote of confidence from their athletic director.
Well, because he's a garbage person, allegedly. So we go Vanderbilt, Texas. I was trying to kid us on the legal side.
Oh, you're good. It's me that's going to get sued.
All right. So Vanderbilt, Texas, Missouri. Then where do we like? Are we putting 8, 9, and 10 all still in tier 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think that LSU, Tennessee, and Oklahoma are still capable of making it to an SEC championship game.
Okay.
LSU the least amount so.
So we're gonna go. Do we put Oklahoma or Tennessee at 8?
I think Tennessee. I think Tennessee would beat Oklahoma up and down the field with a paddle.
So we'll go Oklahoma at 8, Tennessee at 9.
No. Tennessee at 8, Oklahoma at 9.
Oh, sorry. And Oklahoma at 9. That's what I had down there. And then LSU at 10, rounding out our tier 2. Correct?
Yeah.
Joe, they say the refs did them so bad that they permanently suspended. I don't know how that's not firing, but permanently suspended. So that puts us into tier 3. Florida has fired their coach, but they beat Mississippi State 23-21. So they do get a win out of this group. Mississippi State, of course, loses to Florida, and Auburn, once again, of course, loses. Double overtime. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Do you move any of these pieces around and the rest of these 6? Because Arkansas put up a game against A&M, but lost. Kentucky put up a fight against Texas, but lost. I don't know if you move anybody really in these bottom 6.
I think you do.
Who do you move?
I think you move South Carolina to 16 because I think it's clear that they're the worst team in the SEC.
Oh, okay. South Carolina just got killed. So South Carolina now, man, how the mighty have fallen. South Carolina. We thought so highly of you early in the season. We thought Lenore Sellers was going to be something, and you just fallen completely apart.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how when you have a supremely talented quarterback who you've seen do incredible things, and all of the pieces around him are falling apart and not performing at the level that they're supposed to perform, that quarterback can struggle.
Well, Matt, that's craziness.
I know. I've never seen anything like it before in the history of SEC football.
I've never seen anything like that before, Matt. That is craziness. So that then puts us with Arkansas, Kentucky, and South Carolina now. Hey, Kentucky and Arkansas moved up by doing nothing, just being there. Are they able to move up in these rankings just a little bit? And we will see Oklahoma and do some things here, make that work. We got Oklahoma over there, and then just making magic over here, Matt. Pay no attention to the man behind the glass. He's just moving pieces around on his old, because I would be doing this on screen for everybody, as fun as it would be, but unfortunately StreamYard does not allow me to do that. So I have to use my program on my other computer that I have my 2 computers set up because I'm that professional. All right. So yes, tier 1, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss. Tier 2, Vanderbilt, Texas, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma, LSU at 10. I told you they were going to be bad. And then Florida, Mississippi State, and Auburn there is your tier 3, tier 4, Arkansas, Kentucky, and South Carolina. Does that sound right to you, Matt?
Sounds right to me. I the only other thing that I would say that I would like to do that I guess we're not doing this week until they lose again is moving Auburn into tier 4.
But I can't. Yeah, they're still tier 3 because they're not the garbage pail of it. Because they'd have tough games with everybody they play against, and they just can't win them. But like South Carolina is getting blown out. Arkansas and Kentucky put up fights at least, but they've had some bad games as well. But I get it. Auburn, you have a personal hard on for Auburn though. That's why you want to move it down.
No, it's. I mean, granted, I dislike Auburn tremendously, and I dislike Hugh Freeze tremendously because he left my favorite team in all of sports in an absolute garbage heap of burning fire and got out basically scot-free and resurrected his career without any sort of harm or anything of that nature. But they're 0-4 in the SEC. They're tied for Kentucky for the worst record in the SEC. They have the worst points for in conference play in the SEC, and they can't score on anybody, and they haven't beaten anybody except for Baylor. So I think that just because their name is Auburn, they're getting a little bit of grace in this conversation.
Yeah, but Mississippi State hasn't beaten anybody. They beat Arizona State.
Who's ranked?
Yeah, but that was I'm not saying. I think that's similar. They beat a Big 12 team at the beginning of the year,
and they took Tennessee to overtime.
But Auburn took Missouri to overtime.
I'm just saying that at least they've got the ranked win.
They do have the ranked win. I'll give them that. They do have a ranked win. I'm just saying though. I think Auburn is slightly better than the rest of those teams in there that I just don't expect to do a whole lot of damage.
All right. Well, here's what I'll say. If Auburn comes out and loses to Arkansas this week, then they drop into tier 4.
If Auburn, what'd you say it again?
If Auburn loses to Arkansas this week, we have to move them into tier 4.
Oh, well, yeah. But they're not going to lose to Arkansas, are they?
They might.
I don't know.
There's a very good possibility of that happen. I mean, Arkansas just put up 42 points on Texas A&M. I mean, they're favored in the game.
That's true. I mean, we'll see how that goes. Let's see if we can pull up our updated power rankings here. This is our updated power rankings. We got too many on that right side now. We got to even it out somewhere. Too many on that right side. So we'll have to figure out how to do it. If we throw another team in tier 4, we're going to have to figure that out. But we'll figure it out next week.
I think that when LSU loses to Texas A&M this week as well, you'll be able to move them into tier 3. So it'll help balance it out. Yeah,
that'd be possible. Yeah, because some of the bigger games we get this week, Tennessee, Kentucky is this week. A&M, LSU, Missouri, Vanderbilt is an interesting one as well. If Missouri's able to come in, but about you kind of hope Vanderbilt wins that game, being a Texas person, because you like them to be pretty riding on high on their horse when Texas plays them. You don't necessarily want them to be pissed off and upset. You'd like it to go the other way around. We also get Auburn and Arkansas, Ole Miss and Oklahoma, which I don't think you're sweating. We'll talk more about that one tomorrow. We'll talk more about that one with my man Bama Bruce here in just a second as he gets set up and ready to go with this. And we also, of course, get Texas and Mississippi State as we are getting into the fun of SEC play until SEC teams start doing that thing we can't stand where they start playing powder puffs late in the season. Nobody likes it. Why don't we get into our man Bama Bruce Castleberry joining the show once again? My man Bruce, what's going on, Bruce? Glad you could join us today and do another good show.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for having me. Matt, how you doing, man? We kind of lost on that USC we kind of went on last week.
Hey, you know what? That's Lincoln Riley for you. You put your faith in Lincoln Riley, you're going to just inevitably be disappointed. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah, he's a quarterback whisperer, but like a head coach whisperer, maybe he's too loud. The hell, I don't know.
Bruce, we saw last week your Bama team once again gets a big win over Tennessee Is the Bama hype train starting to go again? Are y'all starting to feel good about Kalen DeBoer now?
I think, I mean, what's really weird is, obviously being a homer, I listen to Paul Feinbaum, and even some of the cats that go down there are saying that he's legitimately been accepted. They're not throwing tomatoes at his kids when they go to the grocery store. They're actually helping, giving them carts and stuff now. Just when you want to believe, you can't. I think they got it until they get a running game. Their defense is starting to, hold their own somewhat. The offense, obviously, without Mr. Simpson, he's just throwing darts. And they have a really good receiving core. I saw, I think it was Hill. I think that's his name. I saw number 4 come in last week, and I'm like, that's the new running back for Alabama. Jam's got his, he got ding-donged. He's kind of walking sideways. They have a new running back, number 4. I think it's Hill. I think his name is. But we'll see. I'm not on it. I just want it to work.
Yeah, we saw the availability report. Jam Miller's not on it, so hopefully he's 100% ready to go this week. As we get into Alabama's game against South Carolina, is this the respite now? Is South Carolina, we just did our power rankings. South Carolina hit 16th for us now. They have dropped to the bottom there, 1-4 in SEC play. Is this a trap game for Alabama at South Carolina, 11.5-point favorites, playing against a dynamic quarterback, or is Alabama just playing too good right now?
I want to believe the latter. They're just playing really good. Trap game, yes, all day long. Just when you're steamboating down everybody and playing like you're supposed to, you got spoilers. Little old South Carolina is supposed to be really good this year. Turned out to be horrible, but I think they should, I think 11, I think it's 12, minus 12. I think they should handle them because their South Carolina's secondary is really, really awful. And Ty Simpson, I think, can dissect that really well.
Well, I think that if you're an Alabama fan, then you kind of have to think this is a trap game because it feels a lot like last year to a sense when they lost to Vanderbilt and everybody was all doom and gloom. And then they came out and they beat the crap out of the next 3 teams they played, including it was 2 ranked teams. They beat Missouri 34-0. Then they went to LSU and won 42-13. And then they came out the next week and they got beat by Oklahoma 24-3. So that's got to be in Alabama's fans' minds. Like we can't let something like that happen again. And I believe the running back that Bruce is talking about is Daniel Hill. He's 6'1", 245 pounds. So yeah, I would play that guy a lot if I could.
Well said, man. Well said. I saw him, and it's weird. He looks like who's that quarterback with that running back that Alabama had that was so good? He went to the Dolphins. He had a real long neck. He's got a real long neck, but then he's got the king in him because he's tall. And when I saw him and I saw kind of what he did a little bit, obviously they're using Riley, the other quarterback, and then number 5, what's his name? Beer. He comes in and does a lot of Wildcat stuff. They got
Jeremy Bernard, I think.
Yes, thank you. And he, they have a lot of weapons, and that's what is the glorious thing. And then watch out for Latham too. He'll go run down, barreling down there too.
All right, let's look around this SEC slate for this weekend, Bruce, and see what you like. Ole Miss is headed to play at Oklahoma. It is a difficult place to play at Oklahoma, but Ole Miss coming off the loss to Georgia feels like they want to rebound. Oklahoma seems beatable. I mean, we beat them pretty easily. I know it's a rivalry game. Everything's are different in rivalry games, but at the end of the day, it is still, you expect them to have some vulnerabilities. Their O-line is clearly very much a way to get to them. But OU is favored by 4.5 right now at home against this Ole Miss team. Does this, I mean, it feels to me like maybe it's a little disrespect to Ole Miss. Oklahoma, I know they got another win this week, but I'm still not as high on Oklahoma.
What the hell happened? I mean, I know, Materia, I know he got injured, but then, I mean, did did that whole gusto and him riling everybody up. I mean, they were on fire. I mean, when they played Texas, they were the best defense in the country. And, Texas's offense was way up there, backwards, so to speak. And they just destroyed them. Ole Miss going into Oklahoma, I think the weather's going to play a lot into this. And it's not going to be into Ole Miss's favor, I think, because they love to just chunk the ball downfield like crazy. And Lane Kiffin, he's not patient. I think the bookies got it right on that. For the fact is Ole Miss going to do what they always do? Are they going to implode at this point in the season? I think people are looking at it like that. Mr. Kiffin has got it going on in Ole Miss, and I think the chatter of him going to Florida I think that's bogus. He's not, dude. What makes you think you can't do it in Ole Miss? You got the money. You got everybody behind you. I think this is going to be a rough one for Ole Miss. I think they get beat by Oklahoma. I do.
I'm gonna take the opposite here, just because I got an Eli Manning jersey right here, so it's kind of obvious who I like. Ole Miss has been really good the last 2 years coming off of a loss. They lost to Kentucky last year, and then they came out and beat South Carolina pretty handily at South Carolina. They lost to LSU, then came back and beat Oklahoma pretty handily, and then they lost to Florida, and they came back and they beat Mississippi State pretty handily. That was just last year. And the weather thing I do think plays a factor to a certain extent. I will say the last time I saw Ole Miss play a game in bad weather was against Georgia last year, and they beat them 28-10. So I think Lane knows how to navigate these games, and he's finally got a running back that can help him run the football in games like this. And I do think he's going to look at what Texas did to Oklahoma in terms of, offensively, in terms of running the football and controlling the clock, because Trinidad Chambliss is a lot more mentally capable of just taking the short stuff than Jackson Dart was last season. So I think all those things are going to play a factor. It is going to be a difficult game because I don't necessarily have a lot of faith in Lane Kiffin when his back's against the wall, and it feels like his back is against the wall right now because 10-2 just doesn't feel like it's going to make it for you this year if you don't beat in Oklahoma. Like if you go 10-2, but your losses are to Georgia and Oklahoma, and your only real good win is against LSU, I think that's a huge, negative to your resume when there's other 10-2 teams out there. But regardless, I think that they're going to be ready. I think they're going to bounce back, and I'm an Ole Miss guy, so I'm always going to pick Ole Miss until the inevitable happens, and they do implode, which I do think will happen at some point this season.
All right, Bruce, let's move over to another game on the slate this weekend. Tennessee at Kentucky is an interesting one to me. Tennessee's getting 8.5 points, but this is for Tennessee the same as it is for everybody that goes to Kentucky, a trap game. Tennessee comes off a loss against Alabama, trying to rebound. Maybe just some things don't feel like they're going quite right for Tennessee right now. And can Kentucky break through in a night game in Kentucky where all hell has been proven to break loose before? Or is this just another kind of, just another tease, and Tennessee is going to be able to handle them and handle Kentucky?
Honestly, I think Tennessee handles these folks by 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, again, I think the weather, is going to play a problem if they're in Kentucky. And it gets, there's a lot of really bad weather there. And Tennessee does have a high flying, they're high flying and they can score, do a 75-yard touchdown on you real quick. I think Tennessee will handle Kentucky easy. Very, very, very easy.
I'd like to believe that because I want Kentucky to fire Mark Stoops so fast that he can't continue to throw wrenches into the SEC season with these garbage games that keep happening every year in Lexington at Kroger Field. I can't stand it. I tend to agree with Bruce here. I just, that loss to Texas was probably extremely deflating to them because they're just kind of sitting there like, what else do we have to do? Like, we outgained them 400 to 200. We didn't turn the ball over very much. Well, only once. Our defense played really, really well, and we still couldn't get a win. And now we've got an offense that's actually humming coming in here. Like, man, what are we going to do? So I do think that mental aspect is going to play a role here, and Tennessee's probably going to blow them out.
All right, Bruce, let's head over to the Missouri Vanderbilt game. This game is another one where Vanderbilt is favored by 2.5. Vanderbilt, of course, getting a big win last week, starting to get in the national relevance. When does Vanderbilt's bubble get popped? This one's still at home. Then next week they travel to Austin. They had a hard schedule ahead of them. Does their balloon get popped this week? Or does maybe next week? Or are they just a really good team with Diego Pavia, who's trying to make himself relevant somewhere for being a extremely undersized quarterback?
There's that, but I'm going to have to flip this real quick. Since when, and I know you guys are younger than me, is game day going to be at Missouri and Vanderbilt? What, I mean, besides Indiana, these are the other two that you're like, everybody's talking about these teams, really? And it's game day's there. Everybody's going to be talking it up. Pavia, he's just, he's a Manziel guy. He can throw the ball a little bit, but he's straight backyard. He's got, a hell of charisma, and he's got this team believing like crazy. And if you look at the defense, man, and everybody's on it. Everybody's doing their job. Their defense is actually really good. Then you go flip side to Missouri. Well, Missouri hadn't beat anybody. The only time they came up to Alabama and they played well, they got a kick-ass running back. Haynes, is that his name? I think something like that.
Ahmad Hardy, I think.
Hardy, H. That's what I was thinking. Yes, he's amazing, and it's the battle of the little guys. Who's gonna beat him? I'm gonna get you. Well, I think, and then Missouri's quarterback is on point, tall, really good passer. I honestly, I don't know who's gonna win that game. I mean, if I'm closing my eyes and throwing a dart, I'm gonna take Vanderbilt.
All right, taking Vanderbilt there. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I just watching the way that Vanderbilt runs the football is, I'm a quarterback guy and I love, good quarterback play and passing the football a lot and all those things, but watching dominating running football like that is also something that's like really something I enjoy about football. And watching specifically Vanderbilt's left guard, like just dominate people and funk them all around the field and punch them in the face is like, it really gets me going. I hate it because I hate Vanderbilt, but they run the hell out of the football, and I think they'll be able to do it against Missouri, and they'll beat Missouri.
With you, Matt.
All right. Last big game in the SEC before we get to Texas and what you think about what will happen there. Texas A&M playing at LSU. A&M is only favored by 2.5 in this game. This really does feel like LSU's last shot. They're already a 2-loss team. They haven't played well all season. If they lose this one, it feels like they're just going downhill fast. The Garrett Nussmeier injury is real. He doesn't have the zip on his arm, but he's still playing. Whit Weeks has an injury as well on the defensive end. But is this the funeral for LSU's big hype of their season?
Well, let's just start with number one. They are playing at night in Death Valley, which from what I hear from as growing up till I'm an old man, they say it's the hardest place. I heard a bunch of Alabama linebackers say it was the loudest, the craziest. You can't hear, Kyle Field is the same way. But the only reason I would say LSU has a chance is because they are playing at home. Duh. All right. A&M's on fire, but where we are, it's the same thing as Ole Miss as the last couple of years. They get to this point and then something happens. So I'm, Ole Miss, something happened. All right, now are they going to fall that way, or are they going to pull their chin together, pull it up and go? Back, their defense is high flying. I think A&M is, if they win this game and they win it handily, which I think they possibly could, but they're in Death Valley, they're going to be a force to contend with. And I would put them up there probably because they're undefeated, if they can do this, ahead of Alabama in the SEC as far as the power rankings to me.
I agree with Bruce here. Here's what I'll say about Death Valley. I've been to 2 games there, and both of them were against Ole Miss. And that place was so loud that, and I've said this on their show before, I could feel my bones shaking underneath my skin. Like, it was the most intimidating thing I've ever experienced. So that's going to play a role. I think that there's another thing that's going to play a role as well. And that is the apathy of the LSU fans if at Texas A&M comes out and hits a big play early in that game and hits them in the mouth. Because I think they're tired of Brian Kelly. I think that they're, expecting they came into this season a lot like Texas with national title expectations and all this stuff. And the second that something goes wrong, I think it's going to play a role, and it's really going to quiet that crowd down. They can't run the football. So I don't think they'll be able to kind of to exploit the biggest weakness that Texas A&M has on their defense, which is run defense. And I just, after watching what Ole Miss did to that defense in Oxford, Texas A&M is certainly capable of doing most of the same stuff, if not all of the same stuff. And I honestly don't think this game's going to be close. I think Texas A&M is going to win this game by 2 scores, and Brian Kelly's seat's going to go from, a little warm to piping hot.
He may even start trying to talk Cajun again. Who knows?
Been trying to do that again. All right, Bruce, what do you think? Texas, Mississippi State, this matchup. Texas is favored by 7.5. They have not played great football recently since the Oklahoma game. They suffered against Kentucky. A very long matchup. Mississippi State has played better football, has a win against a ranked team in Arizona earlier this season, but has not looked good in SEC play so far, 0-3. Do you think Texas shows up this week and covers the 7.5? Or is this another slog for Texas? It's going to be a long night.
Man, I'm scared for Texas. I'm just being honest. I think their defense could keep them in the game. I mean, what are we doing on offense, man? The run game, where the hell did that go? And then, oh boy, is Junior gonna, is Ouch gonna show up? Is he gonna throw? What's he gonna do? I think 7 points is a lot. And you know me, I'm a Texas fan, dude. I got Texas halfway down the side of my body. So I'm as confused as that offense is. And I hope the best. But Mississippi State, man, they got a lot of things going on over there. It's under the radar that people don't take. If you don't take these guys serious, Texas better watch out. I think 7 is too many points. And again, I got my fingers crossed. I'm going hook them, but I don't think they're going to cover.
I understand all those points, and I logically should probably agree. But being more of the optimists alongside Patrick on this network, we're kind of the ones that carry the optimist banner, I think, for the most part. Here's what I think is going to happen. Texas came out and played pretty poorly against Ohio State, rebounded the next week, played pretty well. Came out and played, quite honestly, shitty against UTEP, came out the next week, played really, really well against Sam Houston. Same thing happened with Florida and then Oklahoma. I think the trend would say that Texas played really, really bad against Kentucky, and they're going to come out against Mississippi State. They're going to play pretty well. picking them to cover would be foolish for anybody, I think, at this point, because I think that they've covered like one spread this year, if I'm not mistaken, which was Oklahoma. But I think they're going to do it. I think that they're going to win, 21-13 or something like that. And it's not going to be 100% pretty. It's not going to be perfect. They're not going to win 55-0, but they're going to go out there and they're going to get the job done, and they're going to look like a competent football team.
I love your optimism, and I'm with you. You even made me feel better after everything I just said. I'm with you. Hook 'em. Gosh damn it.
All right, and Bruce, finally, any other picks you like across college football? Any upsets? Anything fun this weekend that you like so far?
Who is NC State playing? Can you guys figure that out?
I'll have to look. Let me say
NC State. Who are they playing?
They are playing Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh.
I like Pittsburgh all day long. I think Pittsburgh's got it going on. That's my kind of like you said, off the chart pick right there. I like Pittsburgh all day long over NC State to cover for sure.
There we go. I appreciate it, Bruce. I'll tell you my favorite pick of the week: UCLA to cover 26.5 against Indiana. Jerry Neuheisel is the OC of the future. There, he's what he's done. They won 3 straight at UCLA since they fired Deshaun Foster. So I like that one. Appreciate you, Bruce. Glad to have you on the show. We'll see you again next week with more SEC bona fide Bama Bruce content, brother.
Later, Matt. Later, boy. See y'all. Y'all take care. Thanks for having me.
Later, Bruce.
There we go. Bama Bruce Castleberry joining us on Thursdays to go through the world of SEC and some picks. One of my favorite people to sit down with and go, well, what do you like this weekend? What do you like? What do you like? And normally on a Friday, we'll sit down and go, what do you like? What do you got on? What are you thinking about? So I always appreciate hanging with Bama Bruce. All right, we're going to take our second break real quick, Matt. We'll come back, wrap up the show, get to our meathead of the day here in about 2.5 minutes right here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Dan Covert with my wife Hayden. Welcome to Covert BK.
Our newest location in the gorgeous Hill Country includes Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and hundreds of pre-owned and certified vehicles for you to choose from. We have 3 service departments that are ready to take care of your car, truck, or SUV with 86 service bays to accommodate any repair and get you in and out quickly. Come visit us today to select the vehicle you've been dreaming about.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and we'd like to take a moment to thank all of our clients for making the last 37 years both fun and fruitful. If you haven't yet, I'd like to invite you to give us a try for all your home electronics needs. There's no need to leave your home to find great pricing and incomparable service. No traffic, inexperienced sales geeks, or pushy showroom tactics. We come to you. So just relax, hug your kids, and smile. We handle all the work. Just give us a call at 255-8678 or online at avconsultations.com.
Say hello to Jason and the gang over at Relax the Back. They embrace a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle based on 35 years, folks, of proven expertise, and my back couldn't be happier. Their motto is live wellness, and folks, they can transform your routine, your daily routine, into something very, very special if you have back pain. If you're struggling with thoracic problems, if you've got hip problems, if you've got lumbar problems, please go over to one of their stores. They got 2 great locations, and find out a chair or a recliner or a sofa that's going to fit you and going to make your life a whole lot better. I've got this office chair right here that I've been sitting in for years, and I love it. 2 locations, folks, at the Hill Country Gallery across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center across from the Container Store. Live pain-free like the Buck and Relax the Back.
SendTexTickets.com. If you're in the market for tickets to any sporting event, any concert, any Broadway show, anything live coming to town, you got to head over to SendTexTickets.com. The best seats to all of the biggest events, not just here in Austin, but all over the state and all over the country as well. It's so easy to use. Just log on your phone or computer to SendTexTickets.com. All of their tickets are 100% guaranteed, and they will be delivered right to your phone or computer. So simple to use, and you're also helping to support a local business every time you shop. SendTexTickets.com. So if you want to be at the biggest events in sports and entertainment, there's only one place to go. It's SendTexTickets.com.
Back here on Open Jam on Texas Sports Unfiltered, wrapping up the show on a Thursday afternoon. Got a fun Friday show for you tomorrow, getting us ready for the weekend. It's not quite the crazy weekend we had last weekend. A ton of big matchups last weekend. A little bit calmer, but there's still going to be plenty to talk about for Texas and Mississippi State as we try and figure out how Texas can start to look better and try and figure out ways and talk about how Texas can start to turn that corner. Trying to get themselves ready for some really tough games. 3 of their last 4 after Mississippi State are ranked teams right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a tough road ahead of you. You got to play better in this one to get ready for those. And hopefully we're not going to do what Matt said in a back and forth because it'll be good for 2 of the ranked games, but it would not be good for the first one.
Well, it's not only 3 ranked teams, it's 3 top 10 teams. So that's going to be very difficult. I'm going to give you my under the radar pick this week, by the way, Patrick.
Yeah, what you got?
I've got Houston against Arizona State because Jordan Tyson, the all everything receiver for Arizona State, is out for this game, and Houston's kind of humming right now, and I think that they're gonna cover the spread, and it's going to be a little bit of an upset.
Yeah, it's 7.5 right now. So if you get it 7.5, I like that better than 6.5 for sure. Let's get to our meathead of the day, Matt. Let's go with my man Joe Flacco. I just love this one of Joe Flacco talking about moving to a new city and not really being able to move your family right away. So just being in a new city by yourself. Joe Flacco's take on it is pretty funny stuff.
Restaurant by myself and realized that, man, that's pretty enjoyable to do. After there's not too many situations. I tell people all the time. I mean, I used to see guys sitting at a bar by themselves, or just sitting by themselves eating and grabbing a little meal, and I'm like, man, I feel so bad for that guy. Like, you almost want to go join him. And now I realize, like, that dude was in heaven. And not to say that that's obviously not what I want. I'd rather be at home sitting at the dinner table with my kids and hearing what the hell they were talking about all day. But if you have to do it, then you might as well take advantage of it. So, just little things like that.
I love the Joe Flacco. Immediately realizing, oh, this sounds like I don't love my kids. You're like, no, we get you love your kids, but a break is always nice. Everybody enjoys a little break.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy that kind of stuff. It's very, like, especially when you get to be Patrick and I's age and you're doing that kind of stuff all day, and then you just kind of get to sit down and you're like, this is nice. This is really, really nice. And it, like, Joe Flacco is definitely just he's every middle-aged man in America.
Living the dream.
He is living the dream, just having fun, getting paid to do a really cool thing and just like enjoying it, man. He's just living. He's what I wish Aaron Rodgers would be.
I will say Joe Flacco too is living the dream. He got out of the quarterback graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
He does alive. He's he had a great game against last week on Thursday Night Football. But the problem was, I think other teams will know to cover Jamar Chase.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's probably any defensive coordinator when you're game planning for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's okay. Let's find out where number 1 is and make sure he doesn't absolutely destroy us. Okay, what's step 2?
Tonight we get Vikings and Chargers, Matt. The Chargers are a 3.5-point favorite. It is in LA, but Thursday Night Football is drunk. Can Carson Wentz come back and do something against this Chargers team this week?
What's the spread on this game again?
3.5.
3.5. Yeah, I mean, look, if this was a Sunday game, I would pick the Chargers to win, and I'd probably pick them to win and cover. But Thursday night is weird, so something crazy is probably going to happen. Is Aaron Jones going to be back for Minnesota? I know
believe so. I believe he's activated today, so I believe he got put back on the active roster today.
So do I put him in my fantasy lineup? Do I wait a week? I think
you have an extra running back. Who has extra running backs right now?
Well, I made a trade for somebody and got really, really lucky. I made a trade for the Denver running back. What's his face?
RJ Harvey or J.K. Dobbins?
J.K. Dobbins. So I got pretty lucky.
All right. J.K. Dobbins is an interesting one because you expect RJ Harvey to get more carries as the season goes on. But J.K. Dobbins has been good. He just doesn't get in the end zone enough. So he's a good back, but
he's playing the Cowboys this week.
Oh, so he should run for 900 yards this week. What he's been doing.
Moses part the red seeds like he did for Rico Dowdle.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow for a big Friday show. Get you ready for the weekend and all of the games. But until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for more from